Hola, mi gente. Can y'all hear me all right? Can you hear me okay? Somebody let me know as soon as you get in. I'm going to be talking anyway, see? So hopefully I'm not on mute and you're not seeing this, right? What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of On the Block with Jen. If you haven't already, because you're kind of crazy, subscribe right now, okay? And click like right now. This show is going to be really, really good. I am going to back it up with some data, okay? Some scientific data. Now, you know me, I don't like just being a talking head. I think it's very important that this subject in particular is backed up with data, right? So let's begin. I'm gonna give y'all a few minutes to get in the room, but I really want to jump into this because it is juicy. It is very relevant. Even though a lot of people are in denial about it, you should know how social media is affecting your relationship. If it hasn't already, how it will in the future, right? Because the social media powers that be are revving it up to keep us on these machines. So you should know what you're in for. If you're in a relationship or you're about to be in a relationship, or you're in a relationship and it's getting staticky because of the time that you spend on social media. And this is not gender specific, okay? There are men that are addicted to social media and women that are addicted to social media. We know our kids are addicted already, right? We can't get them off the damn phone. But I am going to open this discussion with some data, okay? Some facts, not just opinion, but facts, because you need to know what you spend all day on, right? And why you're here all day and probably don't know why you're here all day long. So welcome, welcome. What's up, OG Patrice? Good to see you, beautiful lady. So I want to jump into this. I want to give you guys a little time to come in, but then I'm excited about this, so I'm like, I want to get into it. So I'll wait. Okay, I'm at 10. I'm good. What's up, Taino? Okay, so I want to jump into this, right? I want to talk to specifically first and foremost. Welcome, my block stars. Welcome, my lovers, my haters, and my exes who still lurk in the chat. Welcome, other people who are interested in me because somebody else is interested in me. Welcome all. I welcome you all. We all have something to learn here, right? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to On the Block with Jen. Like I said in the beginning, if you haven't already because you're crazy, press it now, subscribe, press it now, the notification bell, and press it now. Give me a little like, okay? I'm not asking for much, although I have a super chat button available. If you can't do that, hit me with a subscribe, okay? Okay, guys, so let's get into this. What's up, Sherelle, Simon, Cloud Hill 25G? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? So I'm getting into this, and then I'm gonna drop the link, okay? Because some of you may have some objections, some of you may have some experiences, which I love to hear because I'm about data and facts and experiences, okay? So I'm going to get into this. If anything resonates with you or jumps at you and you're like, no, Jen, that's not true, hit me up. I will drop the link and bring you up on the panel. So let's start at the beginning, okay? I want to talk to people who, what's up, Mostly Money TV? Good to see you. I'd love to have you up here because you are in a committed relationship, a marriage, actually. Okay. So let's start at the beginning, right? Social media, things like Facebook, things like Instagram were allegedly, supposedly invented, right? It was even going back to MySpace, it was a space for friends, right? We all got on here and we were like, oh my God, it's so great to keep in contact with our relatives and friends. Remember how it started? Remember that's how it started, right? It was like, no, I'm not addicted to Facebook. I'm just here because I could keep in contact with my aunts in Florida. You know what I mean? My ex-business partner in Russia. That's why I'm on social media. Remember we used to be like that? And then that grew into now we see people getting beat down on social media. We've seen porn. We've seen murders. We've seen people announce murders and then go murder that person. So it's evolved, right? Some people may say it devolved, but it evolved to a lot more than a space for friends or a space to keep in contact with family members, right? And it is now affecting relationships and marriages. People are having full-blown affairs on social media. People are having emotional affairs. People who are married in relationships are connecting with their exes and the ones that got away and reconnecting and neglecting their current relationships. So we really have to dive into it, right? because it's serious. Now, I want to talk to all my people who say it's not that serious. And if you're having problems in your relationships because of Facebook and Instagram, your relationship was weak already, right? We hear that a lot, right? We hear that a lot. Oh, if social media is interfering in your relationship, then you didn't have a good foundation anyway, and whatever, right? I want to address that, right? Because a lot of people are like, it's not that serious. It's just social media. We hear that a lot, right? But yet we see people getting killed on here. We see people, falling out with their friends and family over political views. So yeah, it's serious. So let's look into some numbers because, like I said, I like backing things up with data. Yes, I don't want to be a talking head with y'all. What's up, Meat Magazine? What's up, the boy? Much love to you as well. Knowledge and relationships. What's up? Again, if you guys want to come up, I'm gonna drop the link in a minute. I just want to drop these stats real quick and then we could chat a little bit. What's up? Welcome, Block Stars. I got love for you. Okay, so this for all the people who say social media is not that serious. It's not that serious. It's just I come on here whenever, right? It's not that serious. But we all know if we're truthful with ourselves, it's the first thing we check in the morning. And it's probably the last thing we check right before bed. That is the average use, right? So for all the people who think, what's up, Roxy Blue? So for all the people who say, it's just social media, it's not that serious, whatever. As of 2019, social media, I researched, revenue amounted to $36 billion, right? Social media revenue amounted to $36 billion. By the end of 2021, it was $50 billion. Now, we're not talking millions, we're talking about billions of dollars. So do you think the powers that be in social media, do you think that it's not serious for them? Because, for us, it's like, it's not that serious, whatever. Do you think that, company CEOs, people that own these social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, et cetera, do you think it's not serious for them? Do you think that they're just going to put something out there and not market it in a way to bring you in so they can continue making billions of dollars? I found that interesting. $50 billion by the end of last year, right? Woohoo! Ad spend. We know what ad spend is, right? $200 billion by the end of year 2024. Okay. Ad spend $200 billion by the end of 2024. Now, I don't know about you, but that's a little more than a bag and some coins, right? Okay. That I'm just showing you how serious social media is and how serious you should be taking it, right? 56% of the world's population, right, are on social media every single day on several sites. 56% of humanity globally is on social media every single day, visiting various sites every single day. Now, this is something that we say it's not that serious. And yet half the world's population is on social media and growing. These numbers are all growing. All the numbers I'm reading to you, they're all growing, right? 56% of the world's population. And this is just the prefix before the relationships versus social media and social media versus relationships, right? I'm just giving you a little prefix, a little context, so you know how serious social media is, even though we're always like, it's not that serious. It's not that serious, right? So let's move forward. Addiction to social media. And after this, I'll get into the relationships. Addiction to social media. A lot of people think that they're not addicted, and the ones that are don't want to admit it. Who the hell wants to admit they're addicted to anything, right? We've heard our friends and family. Some of us have had these vices. What do we say? What do our friends say? I could stop drinking when I feel like it, or I'm a social drinker, or it's like I only smoke this or do that, in social settings. I could stop whenever. But we've all had those friends and family members, or sometimes we may have been that person where we know damn well it's more than some casual use or social use, right? We know, we've seen them. We like, that's his third glass, girl. We know, we've been there, right? if you notice when you're in a group of people, and if you haven't noticed, and you probably have, if you're standing in a room with 3 or 4 people and you pull out your phone, I want you to watch what everybody else does. Everybody pulls out their phone. It's the same thing that people do on cigarette breaks. Hey, you got a cigarette? You know what I mean? When you're in a group, right? And it happens. If you stand back for a minute and just watch, take your phone out and start messing with it. If the people around you didn't have their phones out, they automatically pull their phone out. It's like a cue. It's like, oh, it's our phone break, right? That's also very serious. Those are signs of an addiction, or at least something that's habitual, right? A lot of people deny that. I'm not addicted to social media. I could take breaks. And then when I mention taking 2-3 months breaks, everybody acts like addicts around me. They're like, oh, you're going to be back. When I tell them like, I'm quitting Facebook, I'm getting off of this for 6 months. You're not going to be able to live without Facebook. You're not going to be able to do it. Like, that's the reaction you get, right? But it's not that serious, right? Everybody keeps saying social media is not that serious, right? Yet the reactions that we see from people and even our own behavior is addictive reactions. It's addictive behavior, right? So that is one part of it. So now that we have all of that, we have the data about how much hundreds of billions of dollars these people are making with these companies, the advertisements, they're making billions and billions of dollars. So someone's taking it very serious somewhere. You guys know I always recommend to you The Social Dilemma on Netflix. Watch The Social Dilemma on Netflix. Watch The Social Dilemma on Netflix. It breaks down why you're addicted to social media. It breaks down in very intricate details, straight from the horse's mouth, the CEOs, the people that used to work for Yahoo and Google and Facebook and what have you, and how they would all sit around in these boardrooms and think of ways, right, to keep you addicted and keep you coming back, right? And we hear about the dopamine thing a lot, and it is very, very true, right? If you don't know, I don't know how old everybody is in my demo, but everybody knows what a dopamine fix is, right? And if you don't, it's basically that shot to your brain that you've achieved something or something really good just happened to you. Your brain is like, yay, happy chemicals, right? So usually humans get that from winning a race, from making love, from being in love, from oh, I want that shirt. I could finally afford it, right? I'm going to go buy that shirt, or I'm going to go buy that luggage, or, oh, I can afford this trip and now I'm on vacation, right? So dopamine fix. It's like, yes, I've achieved something, and your brain reacts to that chemical. And we actually had to go out and achieve things or do things to get that dopamine fix. Now we can do it with a click of our phone. And that's where it gets dangerous, because what we're telling our brains is you don't have to do anything but click something and you're achieving now, right? You're achieving, you're happy now, you're happy, but it's artificial, right? And I love the experiment that I've read about that they did with lab rats, where they shot lab rats with dopamine, right? Usually the lab rats would run to get food, right? And when they got food, that's an achievement, right? I'm hungry. I need to search for food. I got food. I'm eating. I'm happy, right? That created dopamine in the rat's brain. So what they did was, same rats, no food. They started shooting them with dopamine. So the rats starved to death because the rats thought that they were actually achieving something, right? They thought that they were eating. So they starved to death because they really weren't eating. They were just being injected with dopamine. So now, what does that have to do with humans? So in my data research, I want to read this to you guys really quickly. It's just 2 or 3 sentences. Studies show constant streams of likes, like I liked your picture, okay, shares, like let me share your picture or your story, retweets that you get on Twitter, right? Reward the area of the brain. It affects the area of your brain, and you're going to love this, or maybe it's going to scare you just a little bit, but it rewards the area of your brain, okay? It is similar to a hit of cocaine, okay? Did you get that? When people share and like your pictures and retweet, right? You feel like you achieved something, like, oh my God, people like me, right? And it shoots something to your brain like, I achieved something, though you achieved nothing, right? Because there are no real rewards or awards on social media or Facebook. When someone clicks like on your picture, You didn't really achieve anything. And now you know you can get a like with a filter, right? Or standing a certain way or looking a certain way, right? You don't have to actually go out and do what you have to do to look a certain way. Now you could just throw a filter on, right? So it is parallel in a study. Neuroscientists, not me, not a friend who told me, neuroscientists said it is similar to the chemical in your brain, what happens to your brain when you take a hit of cocaine. Okay, just to prove to you that you can, and probably are right now watching this, addicted to social media, and it doesn't discriminate. We have our kids on these machines and we have our grandparents on these machines now, right? So we're all here and everybody in between, not gender specific, not age specific. That's pretty serious, okay? Someone's liking, sharing, and retweeting your stuff, and it's like a hit of cocaine. That's pretty serious, right? So let's get into what my thumbnail is about. Is your relationship, is your marriage social media proof? Is it social media proof? Now, again, what I said in the beginning, a lot of people will say, my relationship is social media proof. Let me tell you something. Those people that have problems on social media, they wasn't on a good foundation. Me and my girl are good. Me and my man are good. Oh, my marriage is perfect, right? But what happens on social media is, right, you can't fight addiction with a ring on your finger. You can't fight addiction just because you're committed to somebody, right? We've all had, or maybe we haven't, I know I have had relatives who are addicted to stuff, and we love the bejesus out of them. Love them to death. Tried to take them to rehab, tried to get the crack from them, told them they got kids, told them that we love them and they got to do better and we'll always be there for them. And they were on that crack or that liquor or that drug until they felt like either getting off or they got help, right? But we love them so much, but that didn't help. It's the same thing with social media, right? Let's talk about emotional affairs. Let's talk about emotional affairs. Let's peel it back. We're going to peel it back on this relationship thing, right? There is such thing as emotional affairs, okay? Which is basically this person is relating to me emotionally more than my spouse is or my significant other is. So what I'm going to do is log on and I'm going to hit them DMs in that inbox because I like these conversations with this guy or this girl. They're so stimulating, right? But that's hurtful to your relationship. And what we do with social media is, again, we act like it's not a big deal. Hey, I'm not in this person's state. I live in New York. They live in Los Angeles. I'm never going to sleep with them. I'm never going to be in the same room with them. Who cares if I'm laughing with them for 3 hours in the inbox? Who cares? It's micro cheating. Micro cheating, okay? And micro cheating is anything that you do online that will make your spouse, your significant other, feel insecure within your relationship. Now, listen to what I said. I didn't say, oh, that person's insecure and that's why they're acting like that. That is not what I said. People who are insecure is a whole other subject. I'm talking about a very happy, functioning, okay, relationship, but you or your significant other does something online and it makes you feel insecure about your relationship because, believe it or not, okay, and I know this isn't a popular opinion, but there are people who can be very secure in a relationship and the person they're with will do something and make them feel insecure. But insecure has such a negative connotation now. Everybody's like, oh, I'm not insecure. That person's insecure. That person, insecurity is a very natural, normal human experience, right? And you don't have to be an insecure person to begin with to feel insecure about something, right? Insecure is perfectly normal. Now, there are people that are secure no matter what, right? But you can be in a perfectly healthy relationship and have that person do something to you that is like, oh, I don't like how that looks. I don't like how that feels. What is that about? I thought we were closer than that. Why are you talking to this woman at 1 o'clock in the morning? Why is that guy keying on every picture you post, right? And that's what happens on social media. And that's why it's so dangerous, because we go into it all the time saying, it's not that serious. I'm secure in my relationship. I know people personally who have started affairs with people on social media. I know people personally who've gotten divorced because of someone they met on social media, right? The gory details, people have killed people behind social media, okay? There was a case where this guy was messing with multiple women. And as women can get, we get catty. She was online saying X, Y, and Z about the other girl. The man ran up in her house and said, take that down, and made her go live on social media, made her go live and apologize to the other girl that she was throwing verbal shots at. And then he killed her. Okay. So we have to stop saying that this world is not that serious. And those people were crazy to begin with, right? Because it's volcano tornado meeting, right? You just don't know how people are going to react, or what's going to trigger them, or if they're perfectly fine, how you're making them insecure now because you're spending all this time on social media and they hear you laughing and giggling, and you light up when you're about to go live. It's like, I light up because, hey, I'm about to be with all these new friends that I met and everybody's a great time. Meanwhile, your spouse is in the back like, that used to be our time. I used to make her light up like that. I used to make him light up like that. What's going on? And who are all them girls out here laughing in the background? And who are all them guys telling her she's pretty in the background? So you have to understand that even a perfectly healthy relationship can be damaged with social media. Stop thinking that it's just, oh, those people are insecure to begin with. You could be perfectly fine and made to feel insecure. It's a normal human emotion. So we have to be very, very careful. It is an addiction, okay? That's why you check it first thing in the morning and last thing at night. That's why you feel good when someone clicks like on your picture. That's why you feel good when someone shares your point of view, right? It's that dopamine fix. So we have to be very, very careful about that. And I'm going to keep talking about some stuff because I want to go into what you could possibly do to secure your relationship, to avoid these pitfalls, although they're very, very hard, because we're talking about an addiction. We're not talking about a casual, a casual pastime. Social media is addictive. The attention you get is addictive. Okay. We've all seen it. I know I'm not the only one that has seen some people who are married or in relationships and they profess it here. And we're like, wow, that person spends a lot of time here. Now I'm throwing rocks and one of them may hit you, right? But I'm sure we've all seen people like, wow, he's kind of flirting a lot for someone who said he has a girlfriend. That's interesting. We've all seen those people. Let's not act like we haven't seen them. So if we take note of that, imagine what their significant other is thinking, right? In these secure relationships prior to the social media addiction. I'm going to drop the link. What's up, Daryl Darrell? I like saying Darrell. I know you said it's either or, but I like Darrell. For some reason, I think it was Darrell to begin with, and then you would just let people call you Daryl. All right, guys. So I'm going to drop the link to get some of you up here. Hopefully you heard a lot of what I was saying, and I want your opinion, because I know what I see when I'm looking at this, but I want you to tell me what you see or what you've experienced. And you know me, I keeps it 110. Some people keep it 100. I keep it 110. I know I've had arguments with my significant other about social media. Okay. I know I've had serious arguments like, what is that? I know I've not gone forward dating someone because of their behavior on social media. Like I'll peep something and I'm like, no, I'm not going to be cool with that. You're a little too kiki. You showing your teeth to everybody. And like I told you guys yesterday, if you were watching on Conversations with King, I know my limits. I don't see a truck coming and jump in front of it, right? So that's how important social media, your personality, who you are on social media can be. There's another thing people say all the time. I dropped the link, guys, for anybody that wants to come up and discuss this with me. There's another thing that people say all the time on social media. Well, that's how I am on social media. You don't know me in real life, right? We hear that a lot, don't we? That's just excuse me. I'm just here a couple hours a day. That's not me. Just because I post something don't mean that I believe it or I think. Here's the thing, sweet pants, right? And I'm talking to men and women. Here's the thing, sweet pants, right? Everything that you say and do and post and discuss and vent about is you. It is you. Do you really think that we're not watching you? Some of us have been social media friends for 10 years plus. We've seen people, Christian, baptized, divorced, married, new boyfriend, new girlfriend, new girlfriend. I've seen guys that were trying to holler at me. They're married now. So we're watching these people in their lives, in their real lives, in present form. We are watching them go through life. We're all like in our own fish bowls, and we're all fishing around and looking at everybody's fish bowls, and we've been doing it for years. So at this point, it's a little silly to say, oh, what you see online is not me. I've been seeing it for 10 years now. I pretty much think is you. When you guys meet me in person, and I'm sure I'll meet a lot of you in person one day, this is who you're gonna get. You're gonna get Jen. Sometimes Jen is gonna curse, talk really, really loud, get really, really crazy. I'm still gonna be funny. This is how I dress in real life. This is me, right? So I can't sit here and tell you guys, oh, what, this isn't me. This isn't me. This is just me a couple times a day. But you know, when I'm outside of this, when I turn this off, I'm completely different. No, this is Jen. This is how I'll be talking. This is how I'll be using my hands. So it's really dumb for people to deny that this is who they are. So again, going back to relationships, social media versus your relationship, social media versus your marriage, okay? How you act here is a reflection of how you're feeling, not only about yourself, but about how more exciting it is for you to be on social media than it is to be with your spouse. Does that mean that there's something wrong with your spouse? No, that just means human nature is taking over and you're loving this. The attention is dope. These friends are dope. These people are funny. They're fun to be around. It's a gay old time on social media. It is a great time. Unfortunately, it is the mistress and the side dude that your significant other cannot compete with. I don't care if you got married because you were in love, because they were fine as hell, because they had all the money in the world. You know why you marry people. You know why you date people. You know why you have boyfriends and girlfriends, because in your mind, you were thinking, this is the best thing for me right now. If you're a healthy, functioning adult, you're thinking, this person here that I'm sharing time and space with is my guy, is my girl. This is who I want. This is why I'm with this person. Unfortunately for that person, unfortunately for them, and sometimes it's a two-way street. Sometimes both of you are doing this to each other, right? But in my experience, I've seen usually one person is heavier on the social media than the other. But yes, sometimes you have relationships where both of them are absent. And it's like, hey, I'm having a better time here than I am with my girl. But, you know, when I want to share dinner and make love or whatever, of course, I'm going to call my guy or my girl. But shit, it ain't like what I'm getting on social media with the party. But it's not the same thing. So that's why I say you're putting your significant other in a position where they cannot compete. They cannot compete with you logging on and 10 dudes are telling you you're attractive. He cannot compete with that. Why? Because you're living real life with this man. He's probably working all day to pay bills. He's probably coming home. He's tired. Maybe he missed that you got a new hair color. Maybe he missed that you got your favorite color shirt on. You know what I mean? Because you guys are living real life together. These people here are not living life with you. No man here is helping to pay your bills. No man here has to make love to you. No man here has to be up for making love to you when you want to make love. So they get all the good, right? Your significant other gets the good, the bad, and the ugly. When we log on, everybody gets the good. You guys don't see me when I'm PMSing or pissed off or I spilled something or cut myself or I can't find my keys. You guys aren't seeing that, Jen. You're seeing, hey, what's up, mi gente? That's who you get, right? So you're making it impossible for your significant other to compete with your social media life. And that's why I say you have to be very careful and take out of your vocabulary It's not that serious. And if, you know, people have problems in their relationship because of social media, they was already weak. No, this is a very unique experience. We are all now have social media is a part of our lives. It's a part of our to-do list. If you're trying to monetize, it is a part of your to-do list now. It is a part of your life. Christmas, we got to post the matching pajamas. Valentine's Day, I got to show what he got me. You know what I'm saying? This is a part of our lives. Oh, first day of school, what do we all do? We all run to social media, put our kids in their uniform, and have them first grade. So we cannot keep acting like this is not a huge part of our lives. Yeah, my mama sick, she dying, I need your prayers, y'all. And what do we get? 300 prayer hands, right? The little crying emojis. We are all involved in this way more than we want to admit. And the not admitting is where the danger is. So that's why I say watch The Social Dilemma, so at least you know what you're spending time on every single day, and at least you know how they're planning and plotting and scheming to keep you on these machines. I bet that you didn't know things like who's better, light skin or dark skin? What do you think about the Boston versus the Red Sox? People that don't like apple pie are assholes, right? Those people throw those memes out to get traction, right? We got bots. I mean, it's not a rumor. The Russian bots or bots in general. There are spaces in Africa where people sit in these offices all day and just throw things out that are fake. There are offices that are dedicated to acting like they're another race, where Black people are acting like they're white people are acting like they're Black, right? And they're throwing out incendiary comments and posts and memes to keep you typing, okay? It can be something as simple as blondes do it better. And you will have 300 brunettes on there talking about, no, what are you talking about? Blondes do it better. And then they keep you on there. These people are scheming, planning, and plotting, because the longer you stay on, the more ad space they can sell. And what did they make in advertisements? I told you, $200 billion on social media. $200 billion. That is what they're making to advertise on social media. The deals that they do with that, the advertisement, $200 billion by the year 2024. Do you really think that these people are not going to move hell and hot water to keep you on here arguing, being intrigued? How can we connect more with this person? Let's do this. So you have to understand how serious this is and how it can affect your relationship for real. We are missing our baby's first steps, right? Because we were, oh, what happened? You was on Facebook, you missed it, right? We are missing life moments with this. So you have to understand that it's very easy to neglect a marriage, to neglect a boyfriend or a girlfriend, to neglect your family. I'm gonna coming up, you guys, because now I feel like a talking head. I'm gonna drop the link again if y'all want to come up, and I'll look at your comments real quick, because I see them rolling in my peripheral. So I know y'all saying some good stuff. Sorry, Boston Red Sox versus Yankees. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Holden. I talk fast, so I meant Boston Red Sox versus Yankees, not Boston versus Red Sox. You got me. Thank you for the correction. Cloud Hill says, that's why all you get from me is sports talk, jokes, and memes. Nobody online knows how I really move. Well, Cloud Hill, if that is all you do, if you've never gotten into an argument after some sports talk, okay, if no one's ever said your joke went too far or your meme went too far, then yes, I believe you. Because even people that stick to, you know, the light stuff like sports or whatever, I can easily keep you on there by just going against your favorite sports team. And you will argue with me for an hour and change because I said your guys are scrubs. See, so there's so many different angles that they use to keep people on. And that's why I say, if you watch The Social Dilemma, it shows you how, you know, your account is cookie cut for you. They watch what you talk about, what you dress, what you click on. And then literally the system sets up your page, okay? Sets up your account to only show you those things, right? So if I'm always looking at, let's just say, a company like Fashion Nova, right? Let's say I click on Fashion Nova. They're not going to show me Macy's. They're going to keep throwing Fashion Nova at me because that'll keep Jen on, right? So that's why I say Social Dilemma breaks it down really, really well. Social Dilemma on Netflix. Tristan said, I'm going to open a tab and open YouTube Studio so you can pin the link. Oh, I don't know how to do that. I do not know how to do that, but I'll do it next time. I will do it next time. Oh, what's up? We got Jabari Bryant joining me.
Hey, Jen.
Hey, what's up?
I'm driving, so I'm not cammed up. Sorry. I got my nephew with me this time, though.
It is fine. You know, King is paranoid about people not camming up, but I know you. It's fine.
Okay.
What you got to say?
I love the topic.
What you think about it?
I think you're right. I was just telling my nephew, I do marketing. And I was saying what you were talking about was what we call search engine optimization. And it's a science. It's not even an art anymore. Like this is how I move people, their business up and down the algorithm in Google, so that when we do an ad buy for a company, this is how I get more views. And dealing with the mind is what we call psychographic segmentation. Like, these are all like business techniques that we teach people in marketing agencies now. So, I mean, I love that you were dropping the scientific aspect of it. That is like a hit of drugs. I was just telling my staff, one of my clients is, well, I can't get into that, but I was just telling my staff that we have to change the colors that we use and the music that we use, because we've identified his customers of a different age bracket. My staff is younger, because, you know, you need younger people to understand TikTok and all of those things. So they were using music that wasn't resonating with his customer base. His customer base are retirees, people in the, I would say, baby boomers and Generation X. That's his primary customers. And it didn't resonate. So to touch those people and to keep them, we had to change the music. We have to change the things that trigger them on a subconscious level. And it's not hard. I hate to say it, but it's not hard to manipulate people online. And it's the same thing with relationships. Everybody wants that approval. Everybody wants that approval, and social media gives you that. And I love the topic, because we were just having a similar conversation about manipulating data to get people to buy things online, when in actuality it's the same thing with relationships.
Now, do you think that social media, like the science they're using in social media to keep you coming back, are they using it in different companies that have nothing to do with social media?
Absolutely. I mean, ad companies have been doing this for years. Advertisers have been doing this for decades, if not since we've had radio. We've been doing that. It's a way to get people to do the things that you want. And if you're in a relationship, if you're a guy, and I don't want to lose my man card, you get your man card before we're talking about this stuff to ladies, but it's the chipping away. If a person's in a relationship, a guy can chip away at the most solid relationship. I call it the drop of water effect. It's a subtle compliment without that follow-up. It's the noticing things that her significant other won't notice. It's the remembering the little things, remembering that you like 2 sugars and a sweet and low in your coffee, and bringing it to you randomly. It's those type of things, and it's the exact same thing that's done in social media now, but it was done for years by people who were trying to honestly get into a lady's pants who has a boyfriend, or who has a, or for guys who are even less scrupulous, get into a lady's pants who has a husband. I mean, these aren't new techniques, these aren't new tactics, but they work. Like, they 100% work, because the human mind is a computer, and it's just about understanding how to crack that computer.
So can you talk a little bit about, when people say, well, then there was a chink in the armor already. Like, maybe the relationship was weak already, and that's why it happened.
That's not true, because it's like a drop of water. Drops of water created the Grand Canyon. A river created the Grand Canyon. No matter how strong your exterior is, no matter how no matter how strong the relationship is, if a person allows themselves to be subjected to this over and over and over again, it will eventually tear down the defenses. There was an old military saying, any fortress can be breached. And I have a lot of friends, especially from my military days, who had that same outlook on women. I will say me, I say my friends. No matter how strong the fortress is, you give a person time and they'll conquer it. Someone will conquer that fortress. And it's the same thing. No matter how strong a relationship is, if a person, male or female, allows someone to chip at those defenses, eventually you'll find a breach. And once you find that breach, it's just a matter of exploiting it.
Mm-hmm. So do you think it's a dangerous thing to be in a serious relationship and be on here every day? Like, what would, if you had a word of warning, or can this be fixed? Can this be helped when we're addicted to it, when we're here every day? Can you help this?
Well, there's like right now, when Mark Zuckerberg was talking about the metaverse, and you see the new push. I have a lot of friends who work in cybersecurity now. The push is now to come up with virtual reality to replace reality. There was a movie years ago that Bruce Willis and Rosamund Pike was in about people logging on and their machines going out and representing them, and they operate, basically you stay in bed all day and your machine goes out into the real world and works for you. The metaverse and virtual reality, this is what people envision. People in the security, the cybersecurity, that this is next level internet stuff. I mean, this is the future. This is what they're going for. So if you don't temper yourself, if you don't put limits on yourself, you won't be able to resist it, because you have people who, like you said, but even worse than what you said, there are people who are they're collecting data constantly on you. Like, I don't Google anything. I use DuckDuckGo, I'll use Bing, I change up my search engines.
Why?
Because I don't want people collecting data, because I know how data is used. I use it. So it's easy. Once you can put together a profile on someone, you can sell them anything. And it's not hard, just with observations, just with time. And it's not expensive to buy someone's data. Like, I know it sounds creepy, but if you got $20, do a Google search or do an online search of yourself and spend the $20 and see what comes up. It will terrify you. Anybody you've been in a relationship with, most of your friends, anywhere you've lived, where your family lives, where your friends live, hell, where some of your enemies live, it's not hard. And we give them this picture. You talk about posting the picture of your kids on the first move. Instagram does. So you have to be very, very careful what you post, because you don't own it. And all of this stuff is for sale. That 200 billion, people aren't spending that money on guesswork.
So I like what you said, how you switch up like search engines. I didn't know that. Like that's a good tip. How you switch up, right? So you're not so easily a target or a victim of this, you know what I mean? Crazy, constantly advertising to you and things like that. Do you think that there's something you can do where you can apply that to relationships? Like, should we like frequent different social media apps, you know what I mean?
I would
This,
argue, I would say, if you have a person who is on social media, like you have, like this is your platform, it's monetized now. This is something that is it's almost like a second job. It's a hobby
yep,
that pays for you.
yep.
It'd be selfish as a person you're in a relationship with to say, no, you can't do that. No, you can't be online. What you do is bring that person into it. I'm not saying put them on camera or anything like that, but make that person a part of it. Make them feel like they're a part of what's going on with you. You share that. Because a lot of the strong relationships, everything, you don't have all the same hobbies, but you can share what's going on. And what it does is it allows you to constantly be upgrading your fortress. You're constantly upgrading that relationship and what you built in your relationship. Because if you don't, if you just allow it to be chipped at, eventually somebody's going to break through.
Now I love that advice. I love that advice. Like you, I don't recommend you bring them on because it could get a little crazy and disrespectful, as we
Right.
know, we've seen. But I love that including them thing. Now here's the thing with that. Here's the thing with that. I think that people enjoy, because I spoke yesterday on King's page. I think people enjoy, right, having this second life. I mentioned on his page yesterday that I used to have Facebook groups, and there were a lot of men in there that were married. And I used to make fun of them, like, does your wife know what you posted and what you just said? She would kill you. And they admitted, no, my wife has nothing to do with this world, right? This is me in this group and with the women here. So it's not like it was even a barbershop thing or it was just men. It was like, no, you're socializing with men and women. It's just your wife isn't here. So what about that? Like when it's like, no, I don't want my significant other. This is my life over here. This is my happy life. This is like where I pretend to be single, right?
Well, you just said it. You just said it. Your last line just summed it up. You're trying to pretend to be single. Like, I know guys that golf. I know guys that sail. I have a lot of friends that like to go sailing and yachting. That's not the same as going online and flirting. That's not the same. It's just not the same. So your pastime is if there's a degree of insecurity involved with this. We talk about in marketing all the time. You play to people's insecurities, but it's when you have to go in and be constantly validated by other people. Now that's a sign of your insecurity, not your relationships. And you're not going on there for entertainment. At that point, you're going on for a form of almost therapy. You're going on for validation. If that's the case, then you really need to take your other person, your significant other, because you're not getting the validation that you need, or you have a deeper issue. I'm not a psychiatrist, but I do know how to mess around in people's head because I understand marketing. So you have to find hobbies that are hobbies. Going online, engaging with available women or unavailable women is not the same kind of hobby as golfing or yachting and talking in those environments is not the same as talking in a barbershop. You with a group of other heterosexual, hell, even some homosexual men exchanging war stories and laughing and joking and to a degree exaggerating. That's not the same, as what people do online, what I see online. And these things are easy to manipulate. If you watch a person in a chat, somebody said I drop a lot of stuff when I speak because I pay attention to what people say in the chat. And just listening to a person chat, if you listen long enough, you can pick up their insecurities. You can pick up the things that they care about that they don't care about. You can find anybody's trigger with enough time online. So you have to offset that by either bringing your significant other with you online or limiting the amount of time that you expose yourself to that.
That's deep. And it's funny because the barbershop thing came up yesterday as well. And Love Crossing Borders was graceful enough to concede because he said it's like a barbershop. And I said no, because women weren't allowed in barbershops. Right. I've never been to a barbershop where my man or my dad, when they went to get their haircut, I was not in there. It's a whole different world. And I think that some people are under the impression that this is like a little clubhouse and nothing leaves here. I'm like, no, this is like the worst place, right? Because everybody's here. And then King mentioned, oh, maybe one of the girls he's interested is lurking. So this is like open, like everybody can see and hear or whatever. So I'm going to put myself in the hot seat because Jabari, this isn't only your line of work, right? But you said that you observe. So I'm gonna put myself in the hot seat for my block stars. I'll be the sacrificial lamb. Just as an example of you watching me, what would you peg me as? Like, what would you think? Like, do you think I'm like this in person? What do you think my triggers are? If you just a quick assessment on the surface, what would you say about me, since you said you can watch somebody and kind of figure out who they are?
Your triggers?
I'm in the hot seat.
Okay. Disrespect is an immediate trigger for you, like an immediate trigger. A huge one. That's the easiest way to get you going, for someone to disrespect you. And disrespect takes on different forms, but in your case, I would say direct disrespect, constantly interrupting, trying to talk over you, like we say down south, trying to make you into a punk, trying to treat you like you're a punk. That'll set you off. That's one of those things that set you off. I think that another trigger, and this one you may push back against, when people operate outside of their roles, when people get out of their role, as they say, step out of their lane. Like you mentioned, you treat a man like a man, but you treat a female like a female. So if you see female characteristics, you'll treat the male with those characteristics. That means you respect roles. And when people operate out of their lane, it triggers you. And when I say trigger, it triggers something within you that says that's not right. That's not the way it should be. And if confronted with that, you say, I'm going to correct that, or I'm going to call you on that.
So let me, last question I want to ask you, and then I'm going to tell people why I'm asking you these questions. If you were a man that is like, oh, she's kind of cute, I want to get at her, how would you approach me just from watching me online? Because remember, men are hunters. So they wouldn't approach me the same way they approach another woman. How would you approach me from watching me speak and chat and my personality and react to people? How would you approach me?
I wouldn't do a direct. My approach would not be the direct come on. That's not going to work with you. You're a lady a guy has to come with, I don't want to use the word game, but a person it's the long game, like the long joke, like Chappelle tells the long joke. It's the long game that works with you, because it has to be there has to be a degree of personality involved. Don't get it twisted. There's looks and all the other things too, but all of those things won't work without you liking the person. Your attraction to the guy has to be an attraction to him. So understanding that, I would, because I like my personality, I think I have that kind of personality, I would just showcase my personality. It would be laid back. It would be subtle. I would never come on strong, but I would just give you doses of my personality, let you have a little taste of the personality, because I'm confident enough that my personality is a personality that you would be interested in. And I'm confident that the other things are sufficient to carry the day, as we say. But I mean, that's how I would approach it. And if a guy had an affable outgoing personality that was a man. And, you know, we joke, we say alpha and beta now, but the traditional sense of the alpha man, I know that Juana's going to try check me about that when we engage each other again. But the alpha male is a real thing, and we are primates, we are animals, and the alpha male is a real thing in humans as well as apes. So you're going to be attracted to an alpha male type personality. You need a man who has a strong male personality, not just a strong personality, a strong male personality. So that's how that would be my approach with you. The walk up and spit the game and the one-liners won't work. It would have to be the long game.
Okay. So the reason why I asked Jabari those questions is so people watching can see that people are watching. People are watching. They're watching your every move. They're watching how you talk, how you speak. So this includes you guys who are in relationships and who are married. And remember, this is a game for a lot of people. This is a pastime. This is not only an addiction. This is how people get their rocks off, their therapy, as we spoke before. So if I ruin your marriage, if I'm a girl that's on here and I just want to be cute and I ruin your marriage, guess what? When I log off, I go make a sandwich. I don't care what you and your husband are arguing about.
Yeah.
Men are the same way. Oh, she got a man. We'll see about that. You saw King jokingly yesterday, I'll beat your man up, right? When men log off, they don't care what you arguing about with your man. If anything, they feel better that they cause chaos in your life and they go on about their business. Why? Because you're going to log on the next day and hang out with them again. So it is a slow drip. So I asked Jabari those questions to prove to you people are watching and they're pegging you one way or another, right? No pun intended.
Was I accurate?
Yes. Yes. And I wanted to ask you because, I mean, you're in that line of work, right? So yes, you're accurate. I hate the one-liners. I hate men that are not masculine, don't act like men. My background, my father was very manly. So I'm like, if you're anything under that, I'm not interested, right? So absolutely correct. The long game is better. Personality is better. Just show me who you are, right? And I'll take it from there, basically.
Yep.
So I want to welcome Love Crossing Borders.
Hey guys.
Welcome,
Hope
brother.
everybody's having a great evening. I'm still trying to get over a cold, so that's why Andrea brought me a cup of tea. And but definitely.
Well, I'm glad you're here because you are married. So I wanted someone on the panel who's married. I'm not married, so I wanted someone on the panel that was married, and also you and your wife have done YouTube together, right?
Yeah, okay. we have 3 channels together. We got 4 in all, but we got 3 together. And we've been on social media as a couple for going on 4 years.
Nice. Okay. What's up, Flying Monkey? So I'd really love for you to speak on that because Jabari did say to bring your significant other on. Now,
I love that he said that.
Right. But he also said not on camera because, that could cause problems. But at least if the significant other is not interested in YouTube, at least involve them in your process, right? If you're doing this as a if this is a revenue stream for you, at least involve them in the process so they don't feel so left out. And I think it safeguards the relationship, right? Because then at least that person is involved instead of being an outsider to your clique that you made on social media. So
Correct.
You completely brought your wife in. You have channels together. They're successful. Can you speak on that, and especially the pros and the cons of that?
We realized this, guys, and back to what Jabari was saying. We realized early about the SEOs. We realized early about that. If we're going to be on Facebook, if we're going to be on Instagram, babe, let's make some money off this thing. Let's not just be one of those couples that just posting stuff in the name of posting stuff. And so whenever we don't even have a Andre and Andrea Facebook page, people go to Facebook, they're going to find Travel Unraveled. We are a brand when it comes to social media. Smart. We are just like, we are part of those statistics and those numbers, that those billions, those people that are making the billions. Yeah, we're part of that. So we realized that because this is kind of funny that let's put it like this. I had never posted any photos on social media until I met my wife. Not no picture of me, nothing. I had a Facebook page, just like you were saying, for family emergencies. My wife had never posted a picture with anybody ever. She's very, very private, right? I remember the day that we both decided to post a photo on each other's Facebook page. I'm talking about shaking fingers.
Okay.
Like we're looking like, okay, this is official. First time anybody is going to see me with somebody.
Okay.
And mind you, this was even after I had been married for 14 years in the States to a wonderful person. But I was not into social media like that. And so when I decided to do it, I was like, this is a big deal. And when we both pushed that button, it was like everybody was embracing. But for us, it was a big deal because we were ultra sensitive to how it was destroying couples. We saw what you were talking about, Jen, and that's why she said I never posted anything as far as anybody dating anybody or being in a relationship because I saw too many friends relationships fall apart. Then they had to put somebody else up there, or they fell apart live on social media with little snide remarks.
Yep.
And I was like, I was the same way. That's why I never posted anything when I was married, because not because my marriage is bad, it was great at that time period, but because we saw what you guys were seeing, the destruction of relationships live on social media. So I was like, I don't want that to happen to me. So that's why my finger was shaking when I did push the button to showcase our first photo together. And so what we decided to do to make us both feel comfortable, whether it was Instagram, whether it be or whatever format, was to turn it into a business, turn it into a brand, and say, okay, anytime we post something, it is going to point back to Go to Love Crossing Borders videos, go to our Instagram lives, go to this, go to that. It's going to be a call of action on our photos. It's not just, ooh, look at us, it's New Year's, but no. Every photo that we post has a purpose behind it, whether it be getting your passport, whether it be celebrating New Year's. Make sure you celebrate or call your loved one, whether it be talking about going through each other's cell phones or not. So we decided to purposely use it as a tool in our relationship, instead of just posting stuff that people can make a prejudgment about and not even really know us. And so we've been very transparent. The other thing that he mentioned was, if you don't want to put that person on camera, I'm on camera in a suit every day on our other channel. I get a chance to dress down with the other channels. But Andrea is doing all our social media. As far as like posting this, posting that, making sure that all the editing of the photos, she does all the photo editing. So there's a lot of, if I need somebody to connect with here, down here, she makes all the connections. Now we've been made ambassadors down here for the city. She's made all those connections. So even though you may have that person in, yes, you can have them behind the scenes doing things as far as your marriage is concerned. But to back to what the one brother said, and it's amazing that he would say that, because that's what destroyed my first marriage. I was subconsciously living a single life. Even though I was married 14 years, I didn't notice by way of social media, I wouldn't post to my wife. Anytime I was talking about somebody, nobody knew who she was or what she looked like. I wasn't, even when women flirted with me, I didn't announce, hey, I'm married, but I would take it in the, oh, thank you very much. So in a lot of ways, I was carrying myself in a single man's format, if only by way of social media. And a lot of us make that mistake by subconsciously thinking it's harmless. Like you were saying, Jen, it's not that important. And come to find out, it actually is harmful. And it had a great, that was one of the major things that had an impact on my marriage back in the States. That was a really wonderful person. We're cool. We're cool to this day. But my point is that you're right. Whether we want to accept it or not, there are corporations and companies that profit and benefit off the fact that we have become addicted to social media, and it's impacting our relationships.
Now, let me ask you, when you first posted each other, you said you were nervous about it. Did you at all, either one of you, get the exes or just random women or random men like, oh, hey, is that your girl? Is that anybody tried to like come in between you on any way, even if it was?
No, everybody was actually surprised. Everybody was like, it was wonderfully surprised because they knew that this person had to be somebody completely different for you, Andre, to stand up and push that button and showcase the first photo. And it was a big deal to me because if I hadn't done that, Jen, and trusted myself, there would be no social media brand that we've created over the last 3 to 4 years, just because that moment. And the same thing with her. So it was, you had a few exes that would reach out like, so it's official, huh? So you really got somebody, huh? That type of thing. But
so that's what I was looking for, because those people always creep up. That's what I was looking for right there.
Yeah. One of the things, Jen, I tell my wife is this, and I tell all women, all my female colleagues and friends this: men walk in circles. Most men, that especially single men, walk in circles for the rest of their lives. And I tell you what I mean. Our circle starts small with maybe 1 or 2 women that we've dated. We walk in that circle. Then it starts to spread to our 20s because we got more women. And you'll notice that man that you hadn't spoken to in 6 months, he's calling you. Like, why is this dude calling? Because he's walking in his circles. And and there may be 30 women in that circle. And as he gets older, it spreads to 40 women. And as it gets older, and we're just hitting up the same, it's like a clock. We're hitting up the same, we're walking around in a circle. You may not hear from me in 6 months, but I was talking to her. We walk in our territories. All men do that.
Because I was telling King yesterday that men think that if they've ever had access to you, it's a forever access. So when we get those, hey, big head text or hey, I like that selfie you posted, we're like, ew, like, why are you? But your circle now makes perfect sense, because I'm like, dude, I haven't spoken to you in 6 months. Why are you here? Why are you in my inbox? But that is why. It's that circle. Now I know.
A lot of times, Jen, my brother can contest, we don't even know why we text you.
That's real.
This is so subconscious. We'll send you a text. We're like, why did I just text her? Because you just in our subconscious, like lions. They say it take the average male lion 2 weeks to walk around his circle of territory. 2 weeks. That's why a lot of times you see the females hunting together, and you'll see the children or the cubs together with the mothers. But then all of a sudden you see the fathers or the 2 fathers walking up from out of nowhere. You're like, where was he? He's been walking the terrain or the territory for 2 weeks on average. He's been walking in a circle. Men do that. We will call up somebody or text somebody from 23 years old when we were kicking with them at 23, and we're 43.
I know.
But you know why? You know why we'll still do that? Because women still give us access. I know, Jenny, you're saying that the access goes away, but the women in our circle, maybe not you, but the women in our circle continue to give us that access. Otherwise, the territory would have to change. It would cause a glitch. I love lions too, brother, by the way. But it would cause a glitch. And if another funny thing about lions don't grow their territory by conquest the way we think. Lions grow their territory because they'll bring in more male lions. A lion territory will be forced to expand when the coalition of lions, depending on the size of the coalition, to reinforce what you said, brother, because the male lion has to be able to walk his territory. And so the territory can't be bigger than he can hold by himself, which is why when you see a coalition of lions, if one of the male lions dies, their territory automatically shrinks. They stop patrolling part of their territory. Just a little fun fact to reinforce what the brother said.
That's great.
I want to welcome El Nixon. There goes your face. I never knew what you looked like. Hello.
What's going on, Jen? How you doing? What's going on, fellas?
All right, brother.
What's going on, bro?
So I wanted to address this comment Anthony Martinez wrote, because I think it's very, very, very important. It says it's never that big of a deal until you go back to social media to chat with X, Y, and Z when your relationship is less than perfect. Definitely easy way to micro cheat. I always say don't drink in YouTube, don't be mad in YouTube, right? Because when you come on here mad about your significant other, the compliments are going to sound better, right? The fun is going to be more fun. So what do you think about that? Do you think it's dangerous or not a big deal when you're already upset with your spouse and it's like, I'm just going to log on, right?
Just one chink. Yep. One chink.
What do you think about that?
My nephew just said that's that one chink in the armor.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking the same thing.
That's that slow drip. That slow drip pays off on that day.
Yep.
Wow, he said it pays off on that day.
I mean, we talked about, you know me, Jen. I always talk about capital, return on investment. And every investment has to have a return to make sense eventually. And it may be a long-term, some investments are a short, and another investment you may go long on something, a Bitcoin or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's when that investment, that's when the dividend comes in. That's your margin call on that day when there's not even be that. You said you shouldn't YouTube man. I'm sorry, I'm driving. I'm sorry. But like you said, you shouldn't YouTube man. The thing is, you can.
I just heard a basketball go across the screen.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you. No, you're
lingering.
You're
It can be lingering anger. That was all I was saying. The anger can be lingering from days later.
Oh yes, that's why it's dangerous, and it's so easy because it's funny what Anthony said. We have more access to each other than ever before. We don't know what to do with it. It's like a buffet. It's like, and I know when I'm at a buffet, I'm extra happy because I'm like, I want the mac and cheese, I want the cornbread, I want the wait, you got rice too and chicken. Wait, can I have the chicken and the turkey? I think that's how social media is. There's just so much, and that's another thing I was telling King yesterday. That's why I had to do this follow-up show today. That I said I'm the type of person where I can see beautiful people and just keep it pushing, right? So that's what makes me safe, right? And I'm like, I'm busy with some other goals that I want to achieve. But I can see a beautiful man, like a man sees a Corvette, and it's like, damn, look at that ride. And then I can shift gears. The problem here, I think, is that a lot of people want to test the waters. How far is it going to go? How appealing does this person think I am? I like how it sounds when he compliments me. I don't get into all that. I'm like, that's a nice looking man. Got to go do my laundry, right? So it's easy for me, but when you're in a relationship that you may feel, I think, boring all of a sudden because it's more exciting on YouTube, danger. It's like, danger. I want to welcome Anthony to the panel. Hi, Anthony.
Hey, everybody. Hey, Jen. Nice to be on, finally.
Definitely. I was waiting for you. I was like, okay, it's been month 2. Where is he?
I'm here. It's a little hard for me to hear you guys on my end, so excuse me if it's hard for me to communicate, but
we can hear you perfect. What do you think so far?
I'm very interested in this conversation. Like I said, regarding like the ease of access, I do think that is a major component. People have always been who they are, so it's not like people never wanted to cheat before until social media or anything like that. But if you don't have control over your impulses, like you were saying, or like all of you were saying, if you're having a bad day, or if you've been chatting with somebody on Instagram, wherever you're chatting with them, and they're always saying nice things to you, you go home, you have an argument with your significant other, it's just that much easier to, like you said, go ahead and test the waters. And I think that because it's such a new thing, you know, the past, I don't know, what, 20 years of social media or whatever, maybe 15 years. I don't think that we as a society or a culture have adjusted to it just yet, you know? Like we
That's a
don't know
good
how to
point.
move. We don't know what the etiquette is surrounding social media, how to move when you do have a significant other or a spouse. So it's just a very weird gray area, in my opinion.
Ooh, that's a great point, because I was saying,
Anthony,
go
Yes.
ahead, Jabari. Go ahead, Jabari.
I think it's even worse, Anthony, because you have people like me whose job it is to to enhance and to increase that desire.
Right.
There are people whose job it is to, and fortunately, I'm not one of those people whose job it is to create havoc online. And there are, just like Jen said in the beginning, there are people that we call them bots. There are bots, and that's their job, to just maintain havoc, to maintain chaos online, because people are attracted to it, like a car crash on the side of the road. And when you talk about relationships, that's a market now. And what's scary is people in the industry are seeing that it's a market, which means they're going to enhance the attempts to unstabilize relationships for monetary gain, for the entertainment value that it gives to other people. So you can expect it to get worse, not better.
Yeah.
Right. I would agree. I do agree with that.
And I think the other issue is too that it is not just one person benefiting. It's not just the Zuckerbergs. It's like, oh, I can sell ad space. There are
Yeah.
people, like a group of attorneys, divorce attorneys. Let's throw out,
Yep.
you never know who's scheming. And it's easy to scheme on social media because they know that everybody's already here. And on top of you're here, you're addicted. So you're going to be here every day. And whatever I keep telling you, you're going to believe it, right?
Social media is helping a lot of people get divorced. They're finding a lot of information on social media. My cousin used to get caught all the time, and I write quotes and motivational stuff like that. And I wrote one for him, and it basically said the people who you cheat with are the people that help you get caught. I mean, it's just basically that simple. You got to be careful. You know what I'm saying? You go and you put your business out here online. I've seen it since I've been around here, 2019. People will remember all your business. People dox people. They'll use that information. You got to be careful.
Yeah, that's another reason why I make sure that I safeguard myself personally as an individual. Now that my marriage has been out here on social media as a brand for the last 4 years, I can't afford to get with some female on the side, and all of a sudden she put in one of the comment sections of one of our videos, I know Andre, blah, 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 blah. I know this, that, and that made him last night. I mean, all these, I can't afford that. To where maybe a dude or a couple that's not on social media, they may be able to slide under the radar a lot more. But those of that are social media present, we have to be even more careful when it comes to being faithful in our relationships, not being flirtatious online, respecting the gender positions. Like, I'm an attractive male, Jen is attractive female. I have to respect those business boundaries, because all it takes is just one person to say I was with your man in social media, and it just destroys all that me and Andrea worked for over the last 4 years. So that's another thing that a lot of couples have, just like the one brother just said, in regards to you have to be careful out here.
We have to, that reminds me of Derek Jackson. His whole brand was,
I thought the same thing.
right? His whole brand was being the perfect man for these women, right? And then boom, we had multiple women like, no, I was with him. I'm in his car. That picture is me on his couch. So that's a great example for what you were just saying. You have to, if you are building a brand here, you have to be extra careful. My friend always says, don't end up a screenshot.
He was doing a video in front of one of his mistress's house. Like, that's some old stuff right there. That's
crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So what advice would you have? I know love crossing borders. I know your thing is, well, I'm in business. with my wife online. So that's easy peasy Japanesey, right? But what about when the person's not interested in being online at all?
You go back to what the one brother was saying is being transparent. Oh, okay, let's say that somebody's dating you, Jen. Let's say that you're in a serious relationship at that particular moment in time, and they're not interested in your world of social media, but you are at least transparent to, hey, you can look at one of my episodes or past episodes, or you can follow me on Instagram, babe, no problem. Or babe, I'm doing a live stream. Are you interested in watching? Andre doesn't watch every time I do a live stream or when I'm on a live stream, but at least the opportunity to see what's going on is there. And that's one of the things that I say, at least the transparent, at least give the person the opportunity that if they want to follow you on social media as your spouse or loved one, they can do that.
What advice would you give, L. Nixon?
I mean, same thing. I mean, like a little bit about my story. When I came to this section 2019, like I let everybody know that I was married, right? It didn't stop the emojis. It didn't stop the comments. But in actuality, like, I mean, I'll be single in a couple of months. Like, I just now put that information out beginning of 2022. I didn't before. I didn't let everybody know my status because, people get crazy. But, the content that I'm going to be doing, like there'll be some questions, but I don't want to put all my business out there. But I was honest, and it didn't stop anything. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy on here.
Yes, faces. I love to see faces. So let me ask you something, El. While you were married, was social media, you're an attractive man, women were doing the heart eyes and clicking the likes and stuff. Did that create an issue for you in your marriage? Were there some arguments?
No, there was already issues there. Like, my case is different. We both retired military, so you dealing with PTSD. There was other stuff there that that couldn't be fixed. But no, my thing is, you got to have a good foundation. I mean, you can get on YouTube, you can get all the compliments. I used to be the guy at work that wives used to complain about, so I know both sides of it, like the things that you have to do, at home, and that dirty math and stuff. Like it's always been around. They're always going to tell you what you want to hear. Always going to figure out a few things that your partner is not doing, and you get caught up in that, and you believe it. And you go over to that person, and then a few months later, when those butterflies wear off, they're just the same or even worse as your partner. So you can't fall into that stuff.
That's correct.
What advice would you give, Anthony, to avoid the pitfalls?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say for me, and it might sound simple, it really is more so about communication. I like what
Good point.
I forgot the man's name. I think it might have been Jabari. But I like what he said about including in your spouse or your partner. I think it's more so about communication. No two people are alike. And so if your intentions are to be long lasting with somebody, I do think that whatever your desires are, you should probably communicate them, whether it's you wanting to be on social media and receive that attention, or that's your job, or whatever the case may be. Include your partner in that. And then, of course, it shouldn't have to be said, but when you guys are, or when people are having issues within their relationship, tackling them head on, you know what I mean? And not allowing yourself to fall into the temptation of what might seem easy and pleasant that night, right? Which is something you should do in general, I think, in a relationship, regardless of whether your outlet is social media or not. But my biggest thing is going to be communication. Me personally, I'm not somebody like I know myself, and I've realized that I probably could not date somebody who is too heavy into social media like that. Just because that's just how I feel about it. Like, it would just be a lot to think about, right? But with that being said, if I met somebody who was more open about it, who brought me into that world with them, it shows that they are considering me, right? That I'm important enough to consider me in their life in that regard. And so I don't know, I think that communicating is going to be the best way to kind of get through that.
I always say communication conquers all. I don't believe in love conquers all. I believe in communication
I
conquers
agree.
all. And it's interesting that you said that, because I'm that petty as well. I was really interested in a guy years ago. And you know, the way he behaved on social media completely turned me off. To this day, that is the reason why I didn't move forward with him. Otherwise, he was great, but I was like, this is going to be an issue for me. The way, and his entire audience was majority women, and there were a lot of jokes going on, and I was watching that, and I was like, yeah, this is not going to be cool for me. And it's interesting because all these years later, we're still cordial, we're still, you know, friendly, but he's still doing the same thing, right? So he's never changed in all these years. So I was like, see, like, yeah, I know that wasn't for me. I want to go back to something you said, love crossing borders, because it's very, very important. That acting single and people not realizing that when they are online, they act single. People think that it's an innocent, you know, it's innocent and playful. And it's like, oh my God, I'm never going to meet this person. They're across the United States of America. Who cares? But I wanted all of you to speak on that acting single, because I think it's very, very easy to do, to act single. This is like the bar where you get to you know, get your drinks on and you live your other life, and your significant other doesn't have to be involved. This is my life over here. And I think that can cause jealousy, because it's like, well, you spending time with those men over there, why don't you spend time with me? I am your man. You know what I mean? So I want to talk about that, the whole acting single online, and people not even realizing that it is that they're acting single. Like I had a joke, there are a lot of single people in relationships. Okay. There are a lot of single people in relationships, and they don't realize that, because I've peeped certain behavior and I'm like, isn't she married? Doesn't he have a I know I see it, right? So what do you think about that? About the acting single online? Why people do it, or they shouldn't be doing it? Or is it harmless, or is it too much? What do you think about that, L?
Well, if it was harmless, I wouldn't have been divorced the first time due to being one of the factors. So that's a myth in regards to how people think. Well, if and you know, everybody's situation is different, but I can say that was a heavy contributing factor. And she would say it, even though she never saw me. My ex-wife never saw me on social media. She would say, one of the problems with you, Andre, is you carry yourself with a single man's energy. There's, even though you have the ring, even though you I was a stepdad, co-parent, and we raised some great kids, and we go places and we do the vacation things, but on social media and in life in general, when you step out the door by yourself, Andre, you give off a single man's energy. And I didn't realize I was doing that. And as I began to look back and reflect on how I carried myself with my phone, how I carried myself when it came to Facebook and social media, where other couples that we knew that were thriving like us, they were showing their vacations and everything. But why is Andre so adamant about not showing this 14 years of a great relationship? All these things that I was holding back, and giving myself the excuse of no, I'm a good husband because I'm judging myself by way of I'm getting all the bills paid, I'm not out here cheating, I'm da. So I'm using all these factors to pretend like I'm not as bad as she's saying, but I was. Looking back in hindsight, I did carry myself with a single man's energy with the ring on my finger.
Now, why did you do that? Why did you do that?
Don't even, looking back, I don't think that at that stage in life, even though I did all the great husband things, the definition of the word husband means gardener, and I wasn't really ready to be a gardener. And subconsciously, maybe that's why I was giving off the single man's energy, because I really wasn't ready to be a gardener at that time in my life. I love being a gardener now, but at that time period, I wasn't ready to be a gardener. And all the results said, we had a big house, $250,000 house in the suburbs of Tampa, and I've got the big F-150 truck and the motorcycles and all this other stuff. And I've got the great career and I'm driving the country, public speaking and all this. On the outside, everybody wants to be like the Spences. You ever see that couple on social media that everybody said, "Ooh, this," and they always call you by the last name. "Ooh, those are the Spences."
Yeah.
We want to be like this. We hated that because people didn't know behind the scenes the Spences were going through it.
So I confess. I told you I don't keep it 100. I keep it 110. I confess. I think I've carried that energy because I've heard in past relationships that I carry that single energy. But my excuse was, well, I don't care because I'm not going to indulge in anything. So it doesn't matter that I'm a very singular solo person. I'm a loner. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I think it's hard for me to mesh with someone. I can be down for you, and if I'm telling you I'm with you, I'm with you. Ain't no cheating gonna happen. But I'm always in my single frame of mind. I don't know why that is, but I'm like that as well. I'm like, no, I'm not posting Jack. I'm not. It's gonna cause trouble. Guys are gonna be trying to disrespect you, and women are gonna try to disrespect me on your end. And it's like, no, let's not complicate it. So,
and I think that goes back. I think that goes back to, before I let somebody else speak, goes back to what you just said, Jen. There are those of us that are loners. I'm a loner by nature. The fortunate part is I'm also married a loner, so I know how to give her space, and she had on the other side of our place. I'm on the other side of my place, but then we know how to come together in jail as well. But when it comes to dating a loner, people look at us like we have this single energy sometimes, but I did at that moment. But sometimes they don't realize we're just loners. Loners are not lonely. We have the ability to go to a movie theater by ourselves and see the next Avenger movie and have a ball just as much as we took a whole crowd of people. We're the life of the party, but yet we know how to stand in the back corner and just enjoy the music. Yeah, people don't understand loners. So that's one of the things that when we're dating people or in relationships, people assume that being a loner means that you're acting independent outside the relationship, and that's just our energies at that time period.
I got to work on that. Who wants to go next as far as the single energy that people give off online when they're in a relationship or a marriage?
I'll go next.
Okay.
I think relationships, your marriage take a lot of work, right? So when it's going well and you are working on it, it can seem boring. You know what I'm saying? But you got to learn how to appreciate that. And some people will live vicariously through other people. Outside looking in, there's patterns to everything you do. It's patterns. Jen, I can go through your social media. There's patterns subconsciously that you don't even know. And the more and more I learn these things, there's patterns that if you like someone and you want to actually approach that person, you look at this social media, it'll tell you everything you need to know. Because some people will say, you'll hear them say, "Hey, I want a man, I want a relationship," but their poster screen, you're not ready for it. You got to watch those patterns. They're there.
I've seen that.
Yeah. It's like you say you want a man, but every day you're posting these messages, and it sounds like you're going to get one and spend the rest of the relationship telling him how much you don't need him.
And that's why I'm talking behind his back. He may pop up, but this is why I'm always bothering King when he's like, "I'm getting married." I'm like, "No, you're not. You're not getting married. See what you do. We see how you talk. Cut it out." Who else wants to talk about acting single when they should not be?
I could go ahead.
Okay.
So I guess when I think of, because the example that you guys have been talking about, as far as I forgot the example that the gentleman mentioned, but I think more of like acting single as like, you out and you entertaining. Like if I was a woman, you out entertaining other women, like nobody would ever know you had a woman back home. Or like, if I had a man and he was on social media and somebody was commenting more slick stuff on his stuff, he not checking them. That to me is more acting single on social media. It's like to me, it's a little bit more blatant. I don't really consider like not posting my picture necessarily as you acting single, because I've always been, I guess, a more private individual. Like I'm not somebody to post my man's picture all over the place because who cares? You know what I'm saying? But I do think that like there is more blatant forms of it. Like I mentioned, like, you know, I'm sorry I forgot you all's names, but I know the married gentleman on here had mentioned, you know, like if a woman flirts with him, he'll just say thank you and keep it moving, right? Like that's a good example of you not necessarily acting single. Now, if you would have kept that conversation going, if your partner would look at that as you acting single, that to me is more of an example. And to me, depending on where you are, it could be you know, like an ego thing, I think sometimes, you know, whether it's just like making sure you still got it, you know. Maybe you're bored. Again, back to the ease of access. I think that like because things are so accessible, if you have a moment of weakness, you might go ahead and entertain somebody on social media and not really think about the other person. But it's definitely something I see all the time. I am a gay man. I don't need to probably say that to you all, but you know, men hit me up all the time who are in relationships, you know, and you would think that like if you didn't know they were in a relationship, you would think that they were single because they are out here acting single. And so I don't know, it's definitely something I see a lot, you know. Not really sure why I attribute it to the ego, but I might also be a little bit jaded. So I think it's an ego thing, but I'm interested in you guys' opinions on that.
And
I agree.
My thing is too, I'm a target, right? Because I'm a very like, you know what I mean? I'm a target. So I think about that when I think about posting my man, right? Women that don't like me, gonna try to make, you know what I'm saying? Try to do that. And then men that don't like him, because it's not like I'm just like this quiet little, you know what I mean? No one's checking for me. But I'm a target. And that's another thing that I think about. Once I expose this relationship or this marriage or whatever I get into, it's like it's gonna be all eyes on, oh, that's who she's with. Let's go check it out, right? And it's like I don't want to go do that especially because I monetize this because I'm like, okay, now this is a job for me. So this isn't like socializing for me. This is like me getting information, giving information, monetizing that, hanging out with some really cool people. But I'm not here because it's like, oh, I'm in a relationship and my man is boring. So let me, come over here. And these guys are gonna tell me I'm pretty. I think that's a slippery slope. I want to welcome Big Hef to the panel. Hola.
Hey, Jen, so you're good at cropping them arms out of the picture, right?
Say again?
You're good at cropping those arms out of the picture.
I am surgical. I am surgical with that. Surgical. I put myself somewhere else. Yeah. And I've been in relationships where I posted like my guy, but I was like, no, I don't want to be that girl that's like, okay, I broke up. Even if I'm with the guy for 3 years, like still, I don't want to, it's like, oh, this is the new guy, 3 years later, this is the new guy, 5 years later. I just don't, I don't want to expose that much of myself in my life. Like I can't live that out loud. You know what I mean? I can't.
Same.
I do think it's.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
We can't hear you.
Oh, I stopped.
No, I was talking to her.
My bad, I was on mute.
Hello. What do you have to say? I don't know how much you've heard.
I've been tuning in and out over the last hour or so, I've been catching pieces of it. On the topic at hand, it always comes off like I'm trying to sell poly, and I hate that. I want to speak in general, but it's like being flirtatious and posing as if you're single, trying to have this alternate reality or, this pseudo world that's separate from your real life. All of these things are evident and indicative of it being unnatural for you to be trying to engage in monogamous behavior, right? These things are supposed to be innate to you. It's supposed to be natural. It's supposed to be habitual. And when you find yourself having to try, that's evident of there being an issue there that needs to be worked on and figured out. And the idea that someone wants monogamy is dope, and that they're working on it is dope. I get it, I understand. But at that point, it would be valuable for you to be able to be honest with yourself, and if it's causing issues in your relationship with your partner as well. Um, it's that weird thing in movies where the whole movie is based off of somebody telling one little white lie, and we have a whole movie span over the course of an hour and a half, 2 hours, because the guy didn't want to tell his wife, oh, my secretary grabbed me in the copier room, and this just spirals out of control, and by the end of the movie, people then died, and he done lost his job, and and all he had to do was say, "Hey, I got growth at work," but then there wouldn't be no movie. But,
Except like with relationship, it goes for years and years and years.
Yeah.
This line. Let me ask you something, Mr. Polly. Okay, are there levels to this shit? Like, let's say I'm in a relationship, okay, and I like flirting with the work husband, right? It's nothing serious. It's like, hey, he like, you look good. I'm like, yeah, okay, I know I do, whatever. And then I go back to my little cubicle and I get back to my typing. Does that mean that I have poly tendencies because I thought that was funny or cute?
Well, I mean,
You
definitely,
let me clean my glasses off in case I got.
it definitely says and points to the fact that it's not natural. You can tailor make your relationship however you choose, whether mono or poly, whatever your thing is. There are happily married couples who invite people into their home all the time, but after we're done having our fun, you got to go. We got to get back to our life. We got companies, we got jobs, we got kids. We don't have the time and interest and ability to entertain whatever this is that we just did. So respectfully, get out of our lives. And when you have the ability to bring that honesty into your world, now you're living life by your own rules. You're taking the bull by the horns. And these people are going to have a more fulfilled existence than the rest of us, because we're trying to live up to these definitions that don't necessarily fit us. Trying to put a person in a box is a very hard thing, because no one is the same thing at all times of the day.
Okay. So you think I'm poly, Hef?
I think that
I'm putting myself in the hot seat all this whole hour and a half. You think I'm poly?
I think in a world where monogamy has been fed to us as the one true thing, a lot of us have tried to conform to it, not knowing that there were options out there. And now that people are bringing these things to the forefront, these things are coming to the light. Now people are starting to think like, hey, does this make sense? Has this always been something I'm interested in? My daughter's mom, she would tear the house down if I liked the picture when, back in the day. Now she fools around with women and everything, and it's like, dude, we could have been good. We could have had a crazy. You created a broken home because you wasn't able to look in the mirror 13 years ago, and now these things are fun. And now you can't find a man, and life is all out of whack. But you had that. You know what I'm saying? We could have had it all. I didn't necessarily need women running in and out of the house all day. It's not about numbers for me. I just want to be able to explore different things, be adventurous, and it would have been nice to have a partner that I could have done that with. And so these are the type of examples that show why divorce rates look the way that they do. The agreement wasn't as solid as we wanted it to be.
Mm-hmm. or with the person we wanted it to be.
Yeah, right.
May I interject a little?
Sure, yes, please.
I think that a lot of it is we don't know our personality. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the Myers-Briggs personality test, where it says that there are 16 personality types. Mm-hmm. And when I used to teach, marketing, I would always make my students take that test, you know, in the very beginning of the class. And I would say, is it accurate? And a lot of people would be like, yeah, but I never really thought about this about myself. I never really thought about this. We don't know ourselves. And when you don't know yourself, you can't really be honest with someone else. It makes it difficult, if not impossible, to be in a relationship of any kind, especially a romantic relationship with somebody if you don't even know yourself. I think that and to go back to the lone wolf or the loneliness thing, I think a lot of us have outgoing personalities, you know, the extroverted personality. A lot of the people that I know with the extroverted personality, the commander, a lot of those people are very protective of their solitary time, of their solo time. So I think that's again another misconception of not understanding people's personalities. They think that because you're outgoing, that you don't appreciate the time alone, or you don't appreciate the you time. But I would push back. I don't think that Jen is I think Jen is traditional as they come. I mean, that's just my observation. I think she gets a man, and it's that man, and she ride or die, and she'll, you know, burn his house down, and if he get cute, and beat the hell out of him. I mean, I believe she's, despite her boisterous personality, because I don't think it's a persona, her boisterous personality, I think that she's a traditionalist when it comes to relationships. When it's all said and done, I think she wants a certain type of guy, and when she has that certain type of guy, she's a woman. She's that traditional woman with that guy. But that's just, again, my observation.
You got me again.
So is it not fair to say that tradition is learned behavior, is taught behavior? Tradition is... I believe
that tradition is learned behavior. I believe that there are some behaviors that are innate in some animals. For example, you have penguins who mate for life. But at the same time, you'll have, we can do primates. You have some primates that mate for years and years. For years, they mate together. Then you have other primates where you have the alpha who will mate with anybody. Even if that other female pairs up and mates with another guy, the alpha rolls in and mates with her anyway, sometimes just to prove that he can. I think that we have to be, I believe that human beings take on all of the personality. As we sit at the top of the animal kingdom, I think we take on distinct behaviors and personality types of different animals, and that's where we get our traditions. But I think some things are innate. I think some things within us are innate characteristics. And I do push back a little bit, Polly, in that I say that even the people who are most innately monogamous have to work on monogamous relationships because of the society that we live in.
So I need to respond to that, because I'm very, I say you got me. And the reason why I know how I am is not tradition, is that I am a rebel. I rebel against everything. Whatever my mama said, my daddy said, religion, what you think I'm supposed to look like, walk like, talk like, I rebel. I rebel like the rebel without a cause. I have 100 million causes. I'm like, no, why do I have to do that? Who said, you know what I mean? And I'm also the very curious type. Like, I'm like, you know, when someone says, are you gay? Right? The reason why I can say no is because I've thought about it. May have even tried it. Right? When someone says to me, are you sure you're not poly? Well, no, I can say no because, well, I thought about it. You know what I mean? It's like you have to think about things in order to say no. I don't know how people are like, I've never thought about being gay. Yes, you have thought about it because, right? So you thought about it, right? So that's how I know it's like it's me and that one person, because I'm like, I'm still that girl. It's like, if it's mine, it's mine. Don't touch it. I licked it. It's mine. Did you know it's mine? So I just can't bring because I thought about it. I was like, this poly thing sounds interesting. Variety is the spice of life. But then I was like, I will someone. We'll all be having fun. Like, yeah. Woo. And I'm like, you're licking her a little more seriously than you licked. Like, my brain it cannot go that way. It cannot go. And I've thought about it. And I can't do it.
I agree. I agree with that.
Like I've tried stuff, but I'm like, I can't. This was fun, but no, I can't. I'll just say I respect men a lot. You guys that eat cooch, hats off, because it is a task indeed. I'm like, it is not for me. Salute to you, men.
I believe when you know, society makes these things almost your definition of who you are and what's real and what's not. You know, you have the Nickies and the Cardis who express these type of emotions when it comes to how they deal with relationships. They've almost been glorified in a sense. So we'll tell a woman, like, if you're not willing to kill over your wife, or, you know, we'll put these ideas out there. You know, what is the little mermaid? The girl lost her voice for a man. You know, we push these ideas off on people, like, you know, this is true love. This what makes it real, and that's just so unrealistic. You know what I mean? And there is a guy that would make Jen find the emotional maturity necessary to conduct herself in an appropriate manner. He just has to be the right guy.
Wait a minute. The glass is about to come off. The earrings are about to come off.
Tiger. Nice shake.
I'm not mature because I don't want eating 3 coochies at one time.
No, I didn't say that, but coming out with the butcher knife going American Psycho is, I don't know if you call it immature, but it's definitely not appropriate.
Hello, in my defense, I stopped stabbing men years ago.
The fact that it was ever a good idea.
I can't even remember. No, but I first of all, I agree with you 100%, because I see it happen all the time. I see women that are married, and it's like, girl, you know damn well you rather be over here with these dudes, okay? And I see men too, and it's like, if you have to keep cheating, if you have to keep, you know, sleeping with different women, you are not meant for monogamy. Let it go. You know what I'm saying? Have fun. Let it go. Live in your true self, because I think when you live in your true self, that is when you are truly happy. You only live once. I tell everybody, I don't care if you want to worship water. I don't care if you want to sleep with 3 people at the same time. I don't care if you want to sew a penis to the side of your neck. Do what you need to do, because it is maybe you want to walk around doing this. I don't know. But if it makes you happy, then it makes you happy. Do that.
Oh my God.
I do see a lot of people locked into that tradition, and it is a slow death, man. It is a slow death.
It's rough.
But it's kind of funny that you would say that, because I've seen it on both ends. After I got married, I got off into the swinger world. So for about 4 years. So I was traveling throughout the states, not just in my city in Tampa, but I was all over, from Miami to Atlanta to Vegas. I was up in your area. I was down in Phoenix area. So in that world, there are people that actually think that they could, just like the one brother was saying. He said, you know, I like his analogy. He said, you know, you come over to the person's house, you have fun, and they kick y'all out because they got get the kids ready for school, or what, they got to go back to their regular lives. But there are couples that try to come into that world, and they find out that world is not for them, and maybe they should be focused on monogamy. I mean, I've seen most couples be able to handle it and enjoy themselves and meet some great friends. But every blue moon, you see a couple tearing up the parking lot because she saw her man. Let me put it like this. One of the things that I noticed in the swinger world was this: men are comfortable that are in that world. They were comfortable with their women being intimate physically with a guy. But if you're a guy like me with a sense of humor and you got good sex, they don't like that, because now she likes you and your personality. And so now dudes in the
Now
parking
you're a
lot tearing
threat.
up something. They're tearing up something because she not just looking for you for that, you know, one night thrill and having fun. You're a guy that has a great personality. You over there by the bar, got the ladies' attention in a circle, and the guys are looking like, nah, this not about to happen. So a lot of times in that circle, couples think that they can just walk into it so easily, but there is a type of personality that has to go along in the poly/swinger world as well. So for
Yeah,
me, I'm like you, Jen. See, when I was in the world, I would go in the world with friends, with female friends. I never took a girlfriend or somebody I was dating into that world because I'm like, Jen, I call it the glance. I can't take the glance. If I'm over here with this Asian chick and I'm breaking her back in, and I glance over and I see you just screaming and crying, and I see tears coming down your cheek because of that orgasm was so good, I can't take it. I know since I knew I couldn't take it, I can't take the glance.
Yeah.
I never brought anybody into that world that I was that close to. So anybody that was around me that was female, they were more like my sisters and my friends type of female friends type of environment that I could go into this club and pretend like we were a couple, but to enjoy the rest of the evening. But we never really messed around because I can't do it.
I'm not built for it. When
I ain't built for that either.
Because I had my little gay night with my best friend, and then it's like I couldn't deal with her the same way after that. I was like, dude, it just was. I ruined that. I should have did it with someone who completely. I didn't. That's how I know I'm not like. She was past it the next day. She thought it was gonna be a thing, and I was like, no. I just want to see what it was like. It's not a thing. Stop rubbing my leg. This is not a thing, V. Like, it's not a thing. So it kind of ruined it. That's how I just know I'm not built for it, you know. And it's okay.
I feel like I was gonna say, I feel like in any relationship, if you're putting a title on it, whether it's poly, whether it's monogamous, all the in-betweens, I feel like there is a level of possessiveness, right? Like that's why you have the title. It's kind of like to stamp somebody and say that's mine. Whether you got 3 people that you're saying are yours or whether it's one person. And so I do think like it makes sense that when you're going into situations like that it can be very difficult. And I find that, you know, with the poly situation, we could cuss on here, right?
Yeah.
It's like a mind fuck to me because it's like, while I do get it, like I do agree that it's unnatural for us to be attracted to like one person for the rest of our life, right? And not like want to desire other things. Like you, Jen, I'm just not built like that. Like it's the possessiveness, you know what I mean? Like depending on your personality, there's never going to be a man that I'm comfortable with being my man and sharing him with other people in that way. And not everybody, so while I can sit here and say that like poly relationships, I guess, are more natural, that's a whole conversation in itself. But you know, there is a sense of being human, not necessarily falling into our innate, you know, natural tendencies and trying to be higher than that. And I also think that like you just got to be real with yourself about whether you are comfortable, whether you are secure enough in who you are that you can watch somebody be with somebody else and not feel no type of way. You know what I mean? And not everybody's like that. And there are benefits to monogamous relationships as well that are beyond just like the fantasy. I do think, you know, companionship is something that everybody wants. There's a sense of, you know, a stability, partnership. Like those are all things that I would argue that when you're dealing with multiple people can be very difficult, right? Because I'm a single man and I deal with multiple people now because I'm a single man, and that shit is difficult. Like I could never in my life imagine being in an actual full-blown relationship with multiple people because that's a lot of people to consider. And I feel like if you're somebody that takes relationships very seriously and you actually want to put your all into a relationship, it's very hard to do that with multiple people. Not that you can't, but I think that it's a very small amount of people who actually can be polyamorous and like successful, you know, like a successful polyamorous relationship. Because to me, what happens is like, to me, I guess my thing with it, and this is probably a topic in itself for another day, but then like, if it's all free love, then why not just be single and freely love everybody that you want? You know, if you put a title on something, it's automatically a possessive thing. It's automatically like, no, we need to know where we're at. We need to know that you're mine in a sense, whatever we've decided that means, and I'm yours. And so I think that like it can be easy to think that like, oh, it's easy to just, you know, say, well, relationships are hard, so just do what you want type of deal, and like, you know, see whoever you want. But I do think like that there's more nuance to that. Like we as humans definitely get possessive, whether it's with 1 or 3 people, and ultimately that does lead to issues, whether you're in a polyamorous relationship or a monogamous relationship, you know.
And
So I don't know.
I think that's innate too. Like, I mean, I think that's innate too, even if it's for sex and procreation. Like a silverback will knock the block off of another silverback because he's like, no, I fought for this, I won this, right? And that's
Yep.
me, like the silverback. Fine.
Or a lion.
Or a lion. Hey D, what's up? Welcome to the panel.
What up? How y'all doing?
Doing really good. What did you have to add? Have you been listening?
Really, I just saw it just like 5 minutes ago, but I just wanted to say this: like, I don't like how people get online, like these couples get online and they just be oversharing, and we already know that you guys are miserable. You know what I'm saying? Like every time those couples that always just be oversharing and make it seem like that they're just the best couple in the world, they be miserable behind closed doors. I'll give you an example. So you know, one of my homies, well, he ain't really one of my homies, like associate. Like this dude that I knew, he was like like when you see him and his girl on Facebook, they used to always just they look like they were just so happy, like the pictures they would take would be always be professionally done and stuff, you know, they out in the park and all that bullshit. And what can I cuss on here?
Yeah.
Okay, they in the park and all
I
that
mean, don't go
bullshit, you know,
crazy, but
just looking so happy, right?
mhm.
And then, you know, I remember one time I was smoking with him, and he was just telling me just how evil she was, like behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand that. And I also don't like how these modern day chicks, they look at you crazy if you don't post them online. They're like, oh, well, the relationship ain't real if you don't put me on Facebook or Twitter or whatever. And it's just like, well, shit, if I didn't have social media, then what would you complain about then?
You're right. I mean, there's even a saying, Facebook official, Instagram
Yeah.
official. So you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I don't like that shit. And you know, I mean, I look at it like this: if you got a girl, man, like that's that. And another thing too, if you got a girl that's like very addicted to social media, you need to drop her ass real quick, because what she's doing, she's looking for another man. I say like the whole Sierra Russell Wilson thing, right? Remember she took that video where she was twerking and stuff. Like, see, like if you got a girl like that, man, just drop her, because she really don't respect you if she takes videos like that and does stuff like that. Like, you just gotta get up out of there. But what do you guys think?
I think that, well, first of all,
Agreed.
yeah, it's a great point in a sense where it's like, if you already see that, again, I do the analogy, see the truck coming, don't jump in front of it. You already know what she's about. A lot of these people, again, are addicted to social media. They like the attention, and you're going to be the side, you know, the side wheel to that, because it's so much more exciting over here to log on and have 100 guys hit like than you tell me I'm cute in my dress. It's like, okay, now I got to go back because 100 is better than 1, right? So it's like, if you do see something like that, avoid it. That whole Ciara and Russell thing, I was like, okay, like I didn't see I mean, it's whatever. You like it, I love it. But I just didn't see the need for her at this point in her career, as famous as she is, as secure as they are in their relationship, as famous as he is. Like, I didn't really get that. And I know that celebrities have to do things for shock value. I just didn't see why she had to do that in
Right.
particular. I was like, we see that you're naked. Like, you know, and then the whole religious stuff. So I was surprised. I was like, because I'm not, a prude by any means. You got it, shake it. You want to be naked? Hey, you like it? I love it. But I'm like, you're a wife with. It was interesting, especially.
But that goes back to what how you started the foundation of your topic tonight, Jen, in regards to how social media subconsciously impacts us to where we would do things that we would not normally do on an everyday environment, or be pressure or feel pressure to do in everyday environment. Normally, you would not see a woman of her economic stature in the position, because Russell is not just a regular NFL quarterback. Any of us that watch NFL, we know that Russell's like been in the top 5 for the last 8 years.
He's
Double
the face of
back-to-back
his
Super Bowl.
franchise.
You see what I'm saying? He is Mr. Clean of the NFL.
Yep.
So he's like as far as personality, the Steph Curry, the Obama, as far as that clean image that he's worked so hard throughout his, even through collegiate career, to create. So when she got with this type of dude, those activities tarnish an Obama, a Curry, a Russell Wilson.
So what do you think about when he defended whatever and he was holding the camera? He was the one filming it. What do you think about
I don't think so.
May I push back?
Sure.
Go ahead.
And, that's his brand, though. What was she doing before she got with him?
Right.
She was
Her
doing
first
stuff just
song
like
is called Goodies.
And I mean, and I know Jen hates to hear this word,
True, brother.
and a lot of people get offended when you say it, but that's why a lot of males call Russell Wilson a simp or a captain.
This is true.
Because you knew what she was. And that video kind of tells the rest of us what she still is. And you're running around. This isn't an indictment. To me, it's not an indictment of her, because she's just who she always was. She's what she always was. He's the one that's putting her on a pedestal. God sent this queen into my life, and she's what she always was. And you put that on her, and no, nothing against her. She's she's an attractive girl, but you whipped, and you got whipped, and then you married a woman that whipped you, and she whipped you because she's been whipping it for quite some time, and she's been whipping it out there. And so, but you a simp, and so I don't.
Wait a minute, because you know how that I don't care about the
I know you don't like that word, but he's the textbook definition.
I care about, everybody's entitled to give their goodies to whoever they feel fit to. Okay.
Can somebody catch me up real quick? What did she do again? I missed this.
Same. I also did not know.
Oh, all you gotta do is search.
Yeah. She twerked on Instagram with Russell recording it on the phone and posted it, and she was naked. She had a very sheer, tiny sarong tied around her waist, but she was topless and naked, and you could see she's twerking from the back, and it's like a very sexual twerk. So everybody.
So how does that show she doesn't respect him?
Well, here's the thing,
recorded
man,
it, right?
And they posted it online.
Here's the thing, man.
As long as they talked about it.
If a woman is taking videos like that and taking seductive pictures and posting them online, she's doing that for the guy that she really wants. She obviously doesn't respect her husband. I bet her DMs was going crazy after that. You know what I mean? Like,
her DMs probably been going crazy since her first album.
Huh?
I got a little pushback since her first album. I got a little pushback for everybody is like, no, Russell Wilson, he's like, he's Carlton, right? I got a little pushback. The man he's on top of the world right now, super wealthy. Does anyone think that the man is evolved? He's older now. He gives 0 fucks or less fucks. He has this beautiful woman who twerks all over the place. And maybe he's just like, this is how I am now. I'm finally free. I'm having fun.
Could be it. Good point.
Has he expressed hurt about this?
Except that that's not his person. Except that's not his persona. That's not his personality. Because the same way we've seen, Jen, the same way we've seen her personality for years. He's been in the NFL for about 10 years now, guys.
He's got
And
10
I've been
years
following
deep.
him since college. Like that's not his personality. Like
Yeah,
he's
like
bending to her will, not the
Yeah,
other way
he's a
around.
Carlton. He's
yeah, you
definitely a
could
Carlton.
tell like that.
Has
He's
he
worse than a
expressed
Carlton.
any hurt
That's
though?
that's a personal problem though.
You could tell Sierra runs that relationship just by how, like, I
Oh,
mean,
no
she
doubt.
dresses him. Like, it's just
Somebody
sad.
had
Just
Has
Somebody
he
express that boy.
has he expressed being hurt behind this?
No, he recorded it. Put it. He's all for
but
the.
let me ask the men on the panel here. Would y'all record y'all girl twerking and
No.
put it on the internet?
No,
No,
I
Hell
would never
no.
allow- I
That,
wouldn't
'cause I
allow
record
that.
girls doing the
See,
would
real
never
men don't do
Naked?
stuff like that.
Shit.
And I'm not
Well,
worth
the
150
reason
million.
why- The reason
Thank
why
you.
I do it is because you got to look at like at Jada Pickett. Like I saw that before that right? And you got to look at Aisha Curry wanting the attention. The reason why men don't approach you like that because the image that you put out, we respect you and we respect your husband. Do you really want them penises in your DMs? Is that what you want? So now the speculation that they have an open marriage. And then you got Gabrielle Union. Then you got there was another couple that went to the red table. And I'm like, yo, leave them people alone before y'all get divorced. Leave them people
Right.
alone. That attention normally goes somewhere else. And then look at Steph Curry's father. Like sometimes that wanting that attention, like you got to leave certain things alone. And in a lot of cases where people have dated certain type of men or women and they settle for the nice guy or the nice girl. Well, just do what you do, but keep an eye on it because when those people do step out, they don't step out with a nice guy or a nice woman. They go back to what they had before. That's where they step out with.
But you don't think that people, I mean, come on, we've all been in relationships where people introduce us to new things and we're like, wow, this is exciting. I've never
Simping?
done this before.
Yeah.
And it's
Simping
like
is
now
exciting.
Anything negative about their relationship, like I'm actually pushing for them. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? Like I have no issues with, you know what I mean? I hope they do their thing and you know, I'm for it.
Hey, can I say something to somebody in the chat? April Carter, cam up. You seem like you feel very strongly about this Sierra Russell Wilson thing, like most black women. So go ahead and cam up. Let's hear what you got to say.
cool.
Cause she going crazy.
He's talking about
right
April
there.
Carter.
Oh, she said again, neither one of the men that are on the panel have ever met, spoken, or hung out with Russell Wilson and Ciara to make that type of judgment. And also, or anyone, one of y'all making Russell Wilson's money. Come on, let's not do this, y'all. Just making assumptions on these two and their marriage. I would just say
May I
this.
respond to that? May I please respond to that?
Yeah, go ahead.
As long as you keep it respectful.
Jen, you know me.
Okay.
I'm always
Fine.
respectful.
Okay.
I think we've established that I observe people pretty well. That's my job. Even if I didn't, people put a persona, people of that statute, of a Russell Wilson's statute, he has a carefully crafted image. He's had this image since college. I don't have to sit down with Russell Wilson to know his brand. It's a brand that he has. He is the nice guy. He's the guy that's going to run your Bible study. I mean, that's his persona. That's not the brand that I created for him. That's his brand. It's a well-cultivated brand. And you introduce someone into your brand whose brand counters, let's say, whose brand has historically countered your brand. Her brand, when she came into the relationship, did not fit his brand. He married her anyway, to the risk of his brand. Now, because he has such a strong brand, her brand became his brand. If that makes any, I mean, his brand became her brand. She gained that wife motherly credibility through their relationship, through her relationship with him. By posting those pictures, especially the video, the way it was.
I mean, you know, look at
that video was absolutely counter to his brand. I guarantee you, his publicist shit a brick. I guarantee, even though they would never admit it because they're his publicist, I guarantee you when the Seattle Seahawks saw that, whoever's in charge of their media swallowed their tongue at the moment because it counters his brand. it counts as his brand and their income. And the young lady mentioned money. The amount of money is irrelevant. You know, it's irrelevant to your brand. Your brand is your brand, whether you're worth $150 or $150 million. When you introduce something into your brand that disrupts your brand, one of two things are going on. Either you're surrendering your brand, which I don't think he is, because he still enjoys that brand today. He's still trying to cultivate it since then. Or you are being manipulated. And so when I call him a simp, it is because he is allowing himself to be manipulated and to jeopardize his brand for someone whose brand is a detriment to his brand. He was the high value person in that relationship. She was a celebrity.
Mhm.
She was a celebrity, but he was an asset. He was a franchise. If that makes any sense. And I know I use a lot of business terms to describe that, but I mean that's the most basic way I can put that. This isn't emotional. This isn't an emotional thing. This is, let's look at this for what it is. Let's not look through rose-colored glasses. Let's not look at her as Cinderella with her Prince Charming. Let's look at this for what it is. These are two people who had a brand. They have a joint brand, and that joint brand was damaged severely by that moment. And let's not act like it wasn't.
Okay, so let me just say this again, and I hope I'm not being redundant. Maybe I am. The only thing I question is that we've seen this happen with Disney kids, right? They're told to act 12 years old for years, even into their 20s, to sell this brand, right? Because little kids like adults that act like little kids, and we've seen it all the time. So is there a possibility? He's older now. He's more experienced. He's wealthier than God, right? He's on top of the world where he feels like he can take more risks now. He doesn't give a damn because he is in such high demand. He is that man. So maybe she was an outlet for him. Because remember, Russell said when he saw her, he felt ordained by God, right? To bring Ciara into his world. His words, oh my God, God sent me to grab this woman. And Ciara wasn't exactly poly homemaker. Ciara's been twerking since goodies, like have said. So something attracted him, and it wasn't her Bible study.
Yeah.
So I'm just
Thank you.
Well, here's the thing, man. Like what happened with who was the people that just got divorced? Megan Good and her dude. That's gonna be the same thing happened to Ciara and Russell Wilson. I guarantee you, in a few years, man. Like, I don't know if y'all saw that video years ago where he was like on he was like doing like he was just talking to people or whatever, and this woman was just like you know the video I'm talking about. This woman was just like, Megan Good, you need to cover up, and everybody's just like, oh. See, that's the same thing that's go like you know you can't marry a woman like that. You know what I'm saying? A woman that's just revealing like that and always on social media and showing off and stuff. You marry a woman like that, eventually it's gonna blow up in your face.
Do you think it makes a difference that she's a dancer by trade? Like that's what she does? You think it makes a difference?
No, because when you're a wife and a mother, you shouldn't be taking videos like that. You should be doing stuff like that. Why are you doing that? You should be doing that in the privacy of your own home.
This all seems so misogynistic to me.
I disagree entirely.
I guess I'm just a misogynist. I don't give a fuck.
Welcome.
Because that's the problem with dudes in their relationships now. They don't want no order. You know what I'm saying? There's got to be order for the shit to work. And your girl going out here twerking and doing all this BS, man, that's not orderly. It's gonna blow up in your face, man. Like, dudes just gotta stop.
That's more of a sign that marriage is a construct that a lot of people are trying to conform to. That doesn't say that what they're okay with doing right now that the public eye doesn't agree with is wrong. Like, to define right and wrong is a complicated thing to do. And as long as it's not hard to define right and wrong.
No, it's not. Like when your girls out here
black and white.
Yeah. Like when your girls out here twerking on the internet, that's wrong. Ain't no way that there's nothing you can say.
Twerking naked? Come on, bro.
Yeah, like come on, bro. Like
twerking naked. That's a given. That's dudes. We know that.
But if
Certain
they're
things are
okay with
just that
that,
we
then
try to
that's
overlook the
cool.
common sense of certain things.
Exactly.
And not want to acknowledge it. I agree with what the brother said. There's structure, even with among us men. There are certain ways that I could dress as a single man going out here to the clubs and pubs and cigar bars and things like that. But I'm a married man. What Hef can do as a married man, how he may a single man dress, carry himself, behave, communicate at 3 o'clock in the morning to somebody. I, as a married man, ain't got no business doing that. When I'm on the phone with somebody at 3 o'clock in the morning, chopping it up, I'm not a single man like Hef. So even as a
I'm not
male,
single, though.
there are certain behavior patterns that I have to have when it comes to social media as a married man compared to you single brothers out here. And so if I have to have structure as a married man and a future father, so it is with a woman who's going to be with me. At least she has to have respect of that time or that place in your life has made a slight shift. And so therefore, when it comes to social media, you have to be willing as a wife to make a slight shift, especially if we hobnobbing with presidents and you sitting up here a couple years later twerking on with a liquor bottle on top of your head and calling yourself my wife. That'll never happen. That'll never happen.
I think
I
feel like we gotta start taking accountability though, and like making it more about you. Then like you could not be with somebody like that, right? It's one thing like it's one thing if you know somebody's doing something completely out of character, right? Like let's say people are saying in the comments she's a dancer, she's done this. We've seen her since goodies, shaking ass. Like this is Sierra, right? So if she was just a saint and out of nowhere was shaking ass on Instagram, that's one thing, but that's not really the case. Not that she's wrong for doing anything, any type of dancing. Also to that effect, if the husband is taking the video, then if any of us have any issues with it, it should probably, in my opinion, be more towards the husband, because if you have an issue with it, then you should have said something. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not for her to be like tiptoeing around who she is for him. Like if he has a problem with, like, for example, I would not let my significant other be naked on Instagram or do whatever, but they wouldn't have the chance to, because I'm never going to be sitting there behind the phone like, yeah, do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's how that goes. But if he's out there taking videos, he supports that. Right. Like that would never be me. But if they're cool with that, that's how she is. He knows what he got himself into when he decided to be with her. Then that is what it is. There are plenty of people who will never walk out and shake ass on Instagram and still not have a successful relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's the point I wanted to make real quick before I get
Welcome, Darrell. Welcome, Darrell.
What's going on? What's going on, G? How you doing, everybody?
That's why it's so important to have those talks, about everything: kids, religion, sexual expectations. You gotta have that talk. It doesn't make no sense that two people laying in the bed and have different desires when they haven't talked about it, and they can make those two things work together in their own bedroom. So if they both agree on that type of behavior, it's none of our business.
Maybe they discussed it with God. Maybe God said, okay.
That's another thing.
Right.
I mean, I'm sorry. I can't let it slide, guys. I just can't, because that's not this man's brand. Let's not act like Russell Wilson is some dude who, Ray who work at the factory, or who even owned the factory, some private guy. This man has a brand. We know what his brand is. He talks about God all the time. He always references the Bible. When he talks about his wife, he doesn't talk.
But he's still one of the goodies, though.
He doesn't talk about his wife, in a way as anything. He puts her on a pedestal. This is not some dude who signed up for a 305, to use the expression. I hate to use those.
Not a 305.
Well, here's the thing, man.
That's
people.
No, she plus one. She plus one. She a plus one. But
Miami with it.
Hey, someone said, so this is a fair question. Let me put this on the screen. This is a fair question. What did Ciara damage ultimately? What was the blowback? I must miss it. Did he lose endorsement?
That's what I want to point out real quick. With you guys, the one thing that, like, every time I hear the Russell Wilson conversation, it's always crazy to me, because in my humble opinion, fellas, it feel like men project how they feel into the situation. What I would do if I had a wife who did this under my circumstances. And as far as Russell's image, I have never seen Russell at the feet of a tabernacle or nothing like that. I've never seen him in a church. None of that
There's a
different
picture of
stuff.
him at the church.
We're all Christians,
There's
right?
there's a lot of images of him in churches and on those type shows.
Is there more images of him with his wife twerking in videos or him in church?
Look,
Because I can
here's
pull
what
up
I
about 15 different
can I-
videos. Hold on, brothers. I can pull up 15 different videos of this man happily with his wife twerking on Instagram and stuff like that. What I see is a man who is solid, a man who is so solid that he's going to hold his wife down despite everything else, and he's far more solid than the pastor, right? And like the brother, sorry, I don't want to call you that, but like the gay brother said, right? I'm sorry, brother, but
It's
you
okay.
said that earlier.
My name is Anthony. Just so
Thank
you know.
you, Anthony. Thank you, Anthony. Like Anthony said, there's relationships when women never twerk online, never do nothing sexually. Nobody never even see them acting like a whore, and they still divorce. Some of them never get married, right? So to me, what I see is, because everybody talking about Sierra, what I see is Russell saying, despite my brand, he actually took vows to that woman. It don't say in your vows, if you fuck up my brand, I'm out of here. No, it says life and death, period. Right? You know what I'm saying? Through ups and downs, period. And I see him being a man actually standing on that. Now, what happened with Megan, she's on camera basically eating groceries. And this man preaches to a fucking congregation every Sunday. That's different than a football player who says, I love Christ, but I am not Christ-like, right? I love Christ, but I am not Christ-like. I am just a simple human being who fell in love with a woman who I already knew what she was up to. You know what I'm saying? That's why when I looked at Mr. Franklin, I said the same thing y'all brothers saying. You knew what you got yourself into. Why you back out on this woman now? That make you look weak. You get what I'm saying? I actually commend this man, because how many men are taking care of another man's children and taking the public criticism that this man is taking without even batting a fucking eye? And that's why I really respect Russell, because a lot of dudes are going to bash the woman but not look at the man for really changing everything about his life to be with this woman. You get what I'm saying? And just like Cloud Hill said, can't nobody up here right now said that Russell lost money, that he not on a football team, that he not getting sponsors. And listen, this relationship is not hurting this man. I just think that what I see is men projecting how they feel into his situation.
Shit, you are tripping,
Yeah,
bro.
please
Like, he's
respond.
been
Well, no.
trash in the
I want to
NFL
really
since he's
respond to
gotten with
that
her.
because
Like,
I
have you
started
seen his
with.
stats since he's gotten with her? Like, every year it's a fall off. What are you talking about? His career's
That's
not
true
going
too.
downhill.
Can
That's
you?
true. But my point.
Hold on. To that point, can you point a direct line at how him throwing a football has anything to do with his wife? If you can point a direct line towards that and not towards his nutrition, COVID, him not going to the gym and stuff like that, if you can point it
That predated
directly and
COVID.
only at his wife, then I can agree with you. But I don't think you can.
Hey, Jim,
There are a lot of
Yeah,
sports people
well, watch when he
will
gets rid of her. Watch
disagree
out
with
when
you.
he starts playing. Same thing with Future. When Future got rid of her, he been on a crazy run. He had hits like a motherfucker.
What?
I think okay. Before we go off the rails. Before we go off the rails, I'm sorry, brother. I don't remember your name. I apologize. But I started off I literally started off by saying, I don't fault her. She's who she always was. She has not changed. She's who she always was. My comment was, and what I think set some of the people off in the chat was that I said he's a simp for it. And I mean, you can be mad at what the definition of a simp is, but he meets that definition based on the fact what you just said. He accepts all of that to everything else be damned. I like her. She what I want. There's songs about that. I don't care. Everybody else call her a hoe. She my wife. It is what it is. And I don't fault her for being herself. I mean, but as a man who says that you're a Christian man, there are certain ideals. I mean, Christianity doesn't change. Let me start off by saying that. I said that in another conversation about religion. Christianity doesn't change based on what's popular. What are the tenets of the faith? What are the expectations of a Christian? Don't change because of what's popular. That's not how it works. So if you say that you're a Christian, if you say that you're a Christian and you say that you have a Christian family and your wife says that she's a Christian, there is certain behavior that Christians, male and female, are supposed to display. Twerking naked as a married woman, twerking naked for other men by posting it, regardless of how we play this out, regardless of how we rationalize it, she twerked naked and posted it for other men to see. She's married. She's married, and she claims, just like him, to be Christians. So you can say what you want about his money, which is what people are saying, and I guarantee you, a lot of these guys, their brand continues long after they leave the league, and their endorsements and all of those things, which is why I said his publicist responded certain ways, because it will affect his brand after the fact. If they get a divorce, it will devastate his brand, guaranteed. It will devastate his brand. So when people see these things, even though you may not see the immediate result, and there are people who would draw a line to his performance, but that's neither here nor there. There are consequences. There are consequences. And the fact that he ignores all the consequences, the fact that he ignores all of these signals that his wife is a certain way and she's not the way that he portrays her to be, using his words based about their relationship, it makes him look like the definition of what is a simp.
Maybe I'm too daft to understand, but I don't get the correlation between any of this. It sounds like you reaching across the country. I don't follow. I don't follow at all whatsoever.
Well, of course you don't.
I would say
either way.
Of course you don't. But anyway, like I would say this, man.
Of course,
if you date a woman that already got a kid that's been ran through by a bunch of rappers and athletes, you deserve everything you get. You know what I mean? Like, she would have never even looked Russell's way if this was let's say 2012. Yeah, she would have never looked that man's way, but she got a kid by another dude, and she was turning 30, and then she was just like, oh well, I need a nice guy now.
Well, we don't know that.
She got with him.
What do you mean we don't know that? Like, I mean, that's how it is with both.
I'm just saying we don't know that, and we again, what I don't.
Nobody's catching feelings.
What I don't do is talk about how people use their reproductive organs. I don't believe in the whole ran through and all of that. She had relationships. He had relationships prior.
She's an R&B chick, man. Them R&B chicks be getting ran through, man.
I'm not even going there. People have relationships before they get with new people. That's what happens. None of us are virgins. Okay.
But anyway, see, that whole situation is gonna blow up, and black women around the country are gonna be so sad because they look up to they look up to her like she's just this queen or something. But I mean, she just got lucky, man. She got lucky and got with a simp, and he's out here like he was doing stuff that real men don't do. And that's out here. You out here, calling her son your son. That ain't your son.
That's the waste. What the fuck is going on?
That's not your son.
That's the most ridiculous shit I've heard all night.
You like, I mean, only simps raise other men's kids.
What?
Yeah, that's sipping. That's sipping at its finest.
I can't agree with that, brother.
That's the most ridiculous shit I ever heard.
Man,
I was a stepdad for 14 years, and I raised some great kids that graduated college. As I mentioned before, my stepdaughter is married to her high school sweetheart. She ain't never touched another man but the one she with right now. My stepson graduated from Bethune-Cookman in Daytona Beach, and he's doing great in his career. So I put, just as a stepdad, I put two highly productive young people that are a great example on the black male side and the black female side in the community as a stepdad. So when I hear individuals that may not be interested in being a step parent make that assumption, okay, cool. That's on you, brother. Got you. But for those of us that have the ability and the mindset to be able to maneuver the landmines and the lifestyle of being a step parent, we understand that what steps that need to be taken. And some dudes may look at us like, oh, you simping this, you simping that. But remember, I was a stepdad. This simping term is brand new. Stepfathering has been around for forever and a day.
Yeah.
So when we sit back and use modern day terms as if it's the mindset and the mentality has always been around like that, let's not do that. This man actually came in as Russell Wilson. He hasn't done anything dangerous to Sierra's child. They actually have had children together. They're a family unit. That man is treating that that child like he is from the day we saw. He pushing the stroller. They were pushing the stroller of the child together after she had the Future's baby. A lot of dudes ain't built for that. We got that.
Including
You ain't built for that. You ain't gonna understand that.
Yeah.
Including the child's father.
Oh, you're right. I ain't never gonna understand because I ain't never gonna be in that situation.
Here's the other
He's
part.
saying just get rid of foster homes and everything. He's
right,
saying
because here's the other part. So stepmother should never have another relationship. So if you got a child, you wouldn't want a productive man like me that can help raise your child to be the betterment of what all he could be along with you and the mom. No, you want the mom to be by herself. You that selfish to want the mom to be by herself until your child turned 24, 25 years old.
Her husband. I mean, she need to be with her baby daddy.
Somebody want her when she's 41, 42, 43, and because everybody doesn't have gen looks and gen genes. And so all of a sudden, when she's older, then she can find somebody. So if they follow your blueprint, all stepmothers or all mothers that have children would not find love until they're in their late 30s or early 40s when a child is 18 to 25, which is not statistically correct.
All I gotta say is this: if the baby daddy ain't with her, why you
a stepfather? I'm telling you what being a stepfather can do. And now I don't even have my own children, but I married somebody now. We're already setting everything up to have children in the future. But guess who already has experience of parenting? So now that it's not brand new to me, I do, based off of step
Can I
parents.
just go on record and say real men make sure that children are good, regardless of whether or not they're biologically theirs? Let me just say that that's what real men do. Russell did what Future couldn't do for his own son. So I don't want to put that out there because step parents are just as important as biological parents. And they're the reason why children are protected and safe and financially taken care of and financially stable. So that's wild as hell. Like I can't.
I've been a single father for a long time. So when I get around a woman who just makes the wrong facial expression towards my daughter, it's cutthroat. Like you with both of us, you got to be rocking or you out of there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like I can't subscribe to that at all. That just sounds like utter ignorance.
Hey, Jen, I'm about to get off the panel.
Look, for every one step that you talking about.
I just want to say this. I just want to say this before I leave, right? The thing with Sierra, right? As far as her getting a nice man, like, isn't that the natural thing to do? If you date in a certain group of people and it hasn't worked, you make better decisions. Could be her better decision, and if it works for him, it works for him. Like I said, sometimes it's a hit and any type of situation. But if it works for them, why not let it rock out and wish them the best of luck? You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is.
And why are we calling the twerking like him having a bad relationship?
It is a bad relationship.
It's all speculation.
It's not like he's dating Ice-T wife.
No man in a happy relationship is posting videos of his woman twerking. All right, that's just real.
He's so unhappy he recorded a twerk video. Where do you get this logic at?
I don't even understand that. No man is happy seeing his wife shake her ass. Like, I mean,
I'm talking about like what is wrong with you guys? You guys are you guys not understanding what I'm saying? Like, no man in a happy loving relationship is going to take a video of his wife twerking and post it on the internet. What are you doing that for? For what? Are you that much of a lame that you need validations from other guys? They're like, oh yeah, you got you a bad bitch, man. Yeah. Like, come on, man, that shit is whack.
I think on the opposite end, I think it's lame for men to be paying attention what other men are doing with their wives and instead of focus on what they're doing with their own women. I think that's lame.
Personally. What do you post? What are the things that you like to post?
He's so secure that he could post the video and not be worried about it. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Like, we worried about it, he not.
Okay, so I'll say this.
Well, he will be in a few years.
Okay, we're all allowed our opinions, but you have to understand, D, that you're gonna have opinions opposing yours.
Oh yeah, I've been getting attacked in the chat. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it don't matter. You know what I mean? Because I'm always gonna stand on what I believe in, no matter what. But what I want to say is this: like, see, a lot of women look up to Sierra. That's y'all can agree with that, right? So a lot of women gonna think this is okay to do in their relationships and their marriage, and it's not.
Again,
Okay,
even
but
with that, I think
likewise,
the husband is going to set the ground on what is okay. That's what I'm saying. These are
Right.
projections. The
Right.
husband in every marriage, love. I'm Andre. I'm gonna call you Andre. Andre's wife isn't going to behave like that because he has set the expectation. He is not Russell Wilson. He is not a football celebrity, right? He's not on TV every day except on YouTube. So my whole point is like the man, the person who is actually the authority in the relationship, this person is going to set the relationship. Like Anthony said earlier, he isn't even going to give that person a chance because he's not going to be taking a fucking video. That is set in the grounds with this young man, with Russell Wilson. He's okay with his woman doing these things. Before she was his wife, we all knew she was sexy. We all knew she can dance. That was never going to stop no matter who wife she became. You know what I'm saying? And I think it shows a lot of maturity for him to be able to go into that situation and really say, I don't give a fuck about what nobody thinks. It reminds me of that movie Pretty Woman. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day when he when he married the whore, right? He didn't care, right? He didn't care because like what's somebody gonna come to him and say, my life fucked up? Show me your bank account and I'll show you mine. My life fucked up. Show me your endorsements and I'll show you mine. My life fucked up. Show me your house and I'll show you mine. And then we can really actually compare who life is fucked up. And I think that's the approach that he really has. Even with Future, he said, that's little money. The little money you offering, I'll give my wife that money. I'll take care of those kids. Why? Why? Because I can do it. You know what I'm saying? So it's not about the fact that how you feel. However, I'm pretty sure Future don't like this shit too. But it don't matter because when that man go to bed every night, his shit is set up the way he wanted it to be set up, point blank, period.
So I'm just curious. I want to ask you something, D. Before, the social media explosion, and this is a sincere question. Before the social media explosion and before the word simp got super, super popular, you had something against step parents? Because what you're talking about is step parenting. And step parents have been around since the beginning of time. If I meet a man who has children, I have to help him raise his children. If I have a child and I meet a man, he has to help me raise my child. So you have a problem with step parenting? Is that your thing?
Well, let me say this. For every one stepdad that has a good relationship with his stepkids, it's thousands and millions that don't. So I mean, I've seen it for myself. Like I have a cousin that she had kids in previous relationships, and then she got married another guy, and those kids disrespect him like crazy, and he just there trying to be a good stepdad. And then another situation with my uncle, he married a woman that had kids from another previous relationship, and they didn't respect him at all. Like and I've seen this multiple times with people, and it's not a good look. Like, why would you? I just look at it like this: if the baby daddy ain't with her, why you want to get with her?
Okay, but sometimes it's not about the baby daddy ain't with her, because we don't know who left who with regarding specifically Ciara and Future. We don't know who left who. She might have been like, you know what, it's a little too wild for me over here, so I'm gonna move on. You have to remember, Future has 8 baby mothers, so that's 8 women that didn't want to be with somebody. We don't know for sure, right? So he has failed relationships, just like we all have failed relationships, just like Ciara has failed relationships, just like you have failed relationships. I'm sure there are women out here that I can talk to that, didn't want to be with you. I don't know where he went. Are you still there?
Yeah.
Right. So we all have failed relationships. What I was trying to understand from you is you have an issue with step parenting, period, like being a step parent. Because, yeah, you have like horror stories. But then we have a man on the panel that said, he was a very successful step parent. So it's not always a bad thing. But you said he's a simp because he's raising another man's child, but he's raising that child very, very successfully. He doesn't fall under the category of the horror stories that you just explained. So he's not even in that category of the stuff that you said. So you don't think it's a good thing that he's in this boy's life because his own father isn't?
I mean, how do we know Future's not in his life?
Because we see it. We know. We've seen the static.
We don't know that.
It wasn't a secret.
I want to comment on something, a point that he made.
But then we're all assuming then, because you said that her baby father don't want to be with her, then you're assuming that he left and she didn't leave him. All we can do is assume, right?
Yeah, but like I look at it like this. You know, you can do all that. You could be there for the kid. You could, you know, help him with his math and, you know, help him teach him how to play sports and do all this stuff, right? And then, you know what he gonna turn around and do? He gonna turn around and be with his real dad, you know, and not even think about you, or turn around and say, or say something else. Like, for example, I seen this video a few months ago. And this stepdaddy was airing up the tire for his stepdaughter, right? He's sitting there airing up, and the mama was recording him, and she was just like, "Oh, look at dad, that's so nice, isn't it?" She was just like, "He's not my dad, mom." She was just like, "Ava, stop!" And she was like, "No, my dad's in prison. I miss him," and he's sitting there, you know, trying to be there for him. See, that's what happens to stepdads. They end up getting in situations like that.
I understand, but I'm telling you that there's another side to step parenting that's very fulfilling and successful. That's what I'm trying
but it don't happen often.
Decide.
It don't happen often. Like, I mean, the brother right here and beside you, the brother right here beside you, he's one of the few that have a good, you know, relationship with his stepkids. But for the most part,
no, that's not true. I've been seeing it my entire life, actually. Like my entire life, I've been seeing success stories. So that's what I'm trying to express to you. I understand you're pessimistic because you've seen bad story after bad story after bad story. But that's like saying, well, I'm not walking outside because I hear people get hit by cars, right? When lots of us walk outside and don't get hit by cars. I get it though. So I'm gonna wrap up. Thank you so much, Dee, for joining us. It's the first time I saw you. Goodbye. All right, guys. So I want to end on a high note. Jabari, are you ending soon? I can. Yeah, Jabari, I'm ending. We're almost going into 3 hours. Unless you want to come back for the final thoughts, I don't mind having you back up for that. If you'd like to come back up, because I want to get back to the topic before we go. Ladies, you know I love you. If you were offended by anything up here, apologies. Okay. And I just want to end on a high note. Back to the topic: micro cheating, social media versus relationships. Okay, and I love that we have opposite sides of the spectrum right here. We have our poly hottie, and we have the very married love crossing borders.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So let me see if Jabari's coming back up for the final thought. Okay, Jabari's coming back up. Come back up, Jabari.
So what was the original topic?
The original topic was social media versus relationships. Can your relationship survive social media and all that goes on here? Because, you know, there's a lot of flirting going on. There's a lot of attention seeking going on. There's a lot of single acting, you know, people in relationships going on, and micro cheating, which is basically anything you do online that would make your partner feel insecure. Right. Yeah. So that was the original topic. Okay. So while we wait for Jabari to come back up, I wanted to give final thoughts because we are here. Okay. So who would like to go first? Final thoughts. That is the original topic, whatever it is you guys think, but also to leave on a high note, what do you think can curb problems in relationships that you know, are a result of being on social media? Since we have no rule or etiquette with social media, everybody's on here and it's a free-for-all. What do you think would help you know, relationships, be able to deal with someone's on social media all the damn time.
Okay, I'll tackle this monster first.
Okay.
In regards to having a successful relationship, regardless of the stipulations or anything that's going on within your guys' home, the best policy is honesty. As long as you can be open and honest with your interests, your desires, what you're doing, you're going to have a very successful engagement with somebody. It takes two. It takes two to tango, and you guys cannot date independently of each other. You guys have to date each other, and y'all have to have something that bonds you two. And if you need your own freedom by having an outlet on social media, then keep in mind what will bother your significant other. And the way to know that is by having a conversation with them. Respect their wishes, respect their interests. And if it's too much for you, it's too little for you, you might be in the wrong relationship. These things are going to come back to bite you in the hindsight one way or another. So it's best to put them out in the open in the beginning of everything. So this is Big Hef, representing that House of Hustle. Catch me tomorrow on Players Perspective. Subscribe to Mr. O Just Living if you want to check me out. And had to come rock with Jen. Love crossing borders. You know, it's always a pleasure. And,
you too, brother.
You know, I'll always be here to give my opinion, whether it's love to hate it. And, you know, I hope that my comments can be valuable to your life in some way, shape, or form.
Look at King coming in on the tail end with the super chat.
With the BX baby.
Right.
King. Look at my handsome King. How you doing, boo?
You just go talk to him
What's
like
up,
that
brother?
while I'm up here.
Check this out.
I know, right?
I want y'all to fight.
See how she did you, Hef?
Yo, hold on.
Look, I want y'all to fight.
Thank you, Jabari.
Hold on, Jabari. I told y'all, man. Don't do that, man. Please, Jabari. Let me just get my little 2 minutes.
He said, "No,
I want to keep that thing. Jabari, you got more money than me, man.
Nah, bro, that's love. That's
you
love.
future real quick.
Don't play these games.
He's gonna be the Russell to the situation."
Listen, check this out. You get that one. You got that one. I tell you, I don't ever want to be the guy that gives her less money when I'm up here. Check this out. Great show I was watching.
Thank you. Did you hear? Did you see? It was really, really good.
Yeah, you had an outstanding, very diverse group of young men. That was dope. I wish I could have joined, but I was busy. Thank you, friend. I appreciate you, best friend. You know. Shout out to my boy, Love Crossing Borders. Shout out to Hev. What's up, y'all? Thanks for holding
What's
my
up, brother?
down. Jabari, thank you again. It's a good show. It's a good show. I was just having dinner, and I came back. I apologize for my tardiness because I feel bad because Jen always supports me on my shows, but I got caught up in
How
traffic.
he doing me? You see how he be doing me? I be rocking with him 5 hours straight, and he give me the last 10 minutes.
No, it's not that. It's, you know, like I said, how to make things right. So that's it. That's it.
The king has a big kingdom.
No, I have one person I'm focusing on. I don't want no problems.
Heavy hangs the head, darling. Heavy hangs the head.
Right. But you know what? You know, the good thing is, this is a good show, and I'm gonna watch the replay. But how many people we got in the room right now? Because I know I want to stay. I wanted to stay longer because it's one thing I didn't agree with in regards to poly. I like the story that Love Crossing Borders told when he was, if he was bringing the Asian girl back and he saw somebody, if he saw the glance.
They were talking about the glance.
And I had the same experience because I took girls to swingers clubs, but I never took a girl that was my girl. I took like girls that weren't serious, right? And I wanted them to see it because the girl that I took serious and they did something, we really got into some serious issues.
Right.
It was nasty. It was a real nasty one. But you take girls there. Anytime I never did anything with a girl, right?
because usually I always bring the best looking girl in there. So it's like, what's the swap, right? And that's the issue. So, but it's more so to me, those type of situations are for dudes unlike myself who are really mature and that can handle multiple women. It's hard to handle multiple women. I'm not good at that. I just got to keep it one person. I want to be good at that, but my pops was never like that. He was a one woman man, so I think that's me too. You know what it is? I'm a glutton. I have a lot of women that like me, and instead of saying, "Yo, I'm just choosing one," I want them all, and that's not good. So I'm a one woman man. That's what I came down to.
So that's what you disagreed with?
That's it. That's the only thing I disagree with. Because not disagree, but I disagree with that. Not anybody can go into that lifestyle. You gotta be born for that. You can't be made to be there in that lifestyle. That's something that you can't. You gotta be born in. You can't be sworn in. It gotta be in you. Like you can't fake it.
Can't be on you.
Yeah, you can't. Like Hef is born like Hef was born like that. Like he's built for that. I'm not built for that. Like you know what type of man it takes. Oh, he got muscle. You know what type of man it takes for somebody to By the way, all the guys here is in shape and stuff. Shout out to y'all. But you know what type of confidence it takes to watch another man smash a woman? What type of unselfishness? That you just want her to be happy. You don't care about you doing it to her, right? And that's real love. That's unconditional love. That's hard. That's hard. So I think everybody's selfish and has conditional love, right? Conditional love. Mm-hmm. I think Hef is one of the few people that don't have conditional love. He wants his woman to be happy even if it's not with him. How many people could say, I want my lady to be happy even if I'm not around?
I can't say it. I'm very conditional. I'm very conditional.
That's it. But anyway, let me go now. I want to say shout out to all y'all. I apologize. This won't happen again, Jen. It won't happen again. And that's it. By the way, you look nice today, Jen.
Thank you.
All right. You take care.
Okay. Okay, gentlemen.
You're going to start blushing when he come around. I'm tired of this.
It's a new
I'm tired of
blush.
taking the back seat, being the side dude. I'm tired of being your side dude.
You caught that, Hef? I caught that too, man.
All you can say is long live the king, bro. All you can say is long live the king.
Like,
yeah, okay.
Every time King come around, I got to shut up and act like we ain't got nothing.
Come on, Hef. You know how I feel about you.
And then that's how she win me over every time. Come here, let me rub your ears. It's okay. Calm down.
A little it is, a little it is. Come on.
Jen, a mess.
Let's get back on track. I know Hef gave us his final thoughts. Jabari, I need yours. Love crossing borders. I need yours.
Well, let me go next because as you guys can tell, I've been fighting this cold in the past couple of days, and she's been feeding me all while I've been on here. She's been feeding me meds and everything, but I'm getting a lot better. But just like our brother Hef said, you know, in regards to communication, in regards to openness, that's very important. But the last thing is, just like I mentioned, when it comes to social media and your relationships, do not deny the lie. I'm going to repeat that. Do not deny when you know that you are lying to yourself about something or lying to your partner about something, whether it be how you behave on social media or whether how you aren't behaving on social media, because your partner may be blaming you for something that you may not be doing. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, if you feel like there is something that's there, don't deny it. Face it with communication. Face it with being open and say, listen, if for example, I kept denying the fact that I was living this single life on social media. I kept denying it. Well, you have to admit it sometimes that maybe on social media I do act a little single. And that may be able to be a key to get you into a situation to where you and your spouse are talking it through to see, do I need to stay off social media a lot more, or do I need to actually be single? Because maybe I'm lying to myself and I need to be single in real life. Right. But at the end of the day, don't deny the lie because it's there for a reason. And if you continue to lie to yourself, like Hef said, in the end, it's all going to come out in the wash anyway. So you're going to have to admit that. But I just want to say thank you, Jen. Excellent topic. Excellent panel that you had today. I'm really enjoying the direction that your channel is is going, and look forward to hearing more from you in regards to topics like this, especially how you started with such great stats. And you guys have a great evening. I'm going to be in the background just watching and sipping my tea.
I'd love to have the missus up here one day, maybe for what?
You know what? We can do that. We could definitely set that up without a doubt. It's just that over the past week, we've been kind of like battling this cold.
Right.
Or the weather changed, and all of a sudden the flu hit everywhere, and everybody's gotten the flu, and so it hit our household. So we just been walking around like zombies for the past couple of days.
Have you seen those medicine patches in CVS?
So you don't have the CVS down here.
Damn. Look, I grabbed a couple of those.
They've got pharmacies down here. What they do, they give you the shot. What got us better, we went to the pharmacy and they just give you a shot in the butt of penicillin.
Okay, yeah. That medicine patch made me shake back in a day. So I was like, ooh. And that third flu tea. That third flu tea is something else too.
Oh, yeah. To that patch. Okay.
Yeah, that patch something serious, let me tell you. Like it's nuts. Like you go sweat the whole night and you go wake up like, oh.
That's what the shot did for her. She said you guys are gonna sweat overnight. And it was just pouring out.
Yeah.
And I never knew your body could actually
I had to sleep with a towel.
Yeah. But we felt much better. So now I'm down to like the last bit of sniffles, and as you guys can see, the final coughs, getting everything out the body. But for the most part, I'm back about 70% of how I was before. But so on the other channels, I've kind of been taking old recordings and mixing them and blending them, and everybody thinks it's a brand new recording.
I'm wishing you perfect health as soon as possible.
Thank you for coming to me and Jen channel. We appreciate
it. Oh yeah. Have a good one, guys.
All right.
Bye. Okay, Jabari, last thoughts. And I do have a question. This question is, I know it's hella late, but I wanted to ask this question. What do you think about, because this is the issue too, and I want to ask this before we go. What do you think about when it's just social media and someone says, I want to look at your DMs or inboxes, and the person's like, no, it's my privacy. Do you think that social media has like a privacy thing?
I think that's the problem. I think that my last word is just going to be, remember that there are people out there who are in the business of sowing seeds of discontent in your relationship. People who are professionals, people who mean to profit from it, people that are much better at this than you. And in a lot of cases, people that know you better than you know yourself. If you think about it, how okay would you be with all of your social media, all of your search engine, of all those searches being public, it running on a billboard in town, it running on the side of the Bellagio Hotel? How comfortable would you be with that? This is what they know. This is what the people who buy and sell your information know. So the Chinese government is limiting the amount of time that their citizens can spend on social media. That's where TikTok originated. And as we said earlier, more people are on TikTok than any other website, including Google now. So that was just announced today. TikTok has more daily users than Google. And they're limiting their people from being on it. It should tell you that this is an addiction. And with any addiction, the key is to not get started. But if you do get addicted to this drug that is social media, you need to wean yourself off with the help of a loved one, just like you would alcohol or anything else. That's what I'm talking about.
That was real bad timing.
Alcoholics go to meetings, bro. Remember that. If you don't go to meetings, you're not an alcoholic.
Bad. I'm gonna stay away from meetings. That's
good. That's good, brother. That's good. But yeah, you can't be private though, because if you have something to hide, if you have something to hide on social freaking media, then you have something to hide.
Right.
If you feel like you got to hide your social media platform from your loved one, your so-called loved one, or your so-called significant other, then clearly you have something to hide, and there is a problem. There's clearly a problem.
You hear that, people? Because I'm like, it just surprises me how people like, no, it's my problem. Like, it's social media. What are you talking about? Are you kidding me? So with that said, thank you so much, gentlemen. It was an amazing panel, and everybody was so different. And our poly guy could talk about regular stuff. See,
I mean, I'm good at my expertise is in everybody else stuff because I'm an outsider looking in. So
right.
You're going to have the most wholesome and genuine opinion about stuff that doesn't involve your own life. Like people can come and look at my life and tell me everything. Well, you did this wrong, that wrong, that wrong. They can run it down, So I'm the same way for the monogamists of the world. I'm just sitting here looking at it like, ain't this a mess?
No, damn well you want 3 people. I see you. No, I see it too. I see it too. I'm like, girl. I see it too. All right, guys. So thank you so much, chat. I appreciate you. I appreciate
for sure.
I appreciate the participation. I appreciate you putting up with me and somebody who may come up on the panel who bugging a little bit.
I mean, it was very interesting to know that somebody thinks like that in real time, like what appeared to be an adult man. I was like,
Yeah, I just don't
like Jabari. I can see where we disagreed at, but you still know how to formulate something in a realistic manner, and that's dope. I can rock with that.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes me and Jabari disagree. Please hit that like and subscribe on your way out the door. I love you too, Tristan. You already know. I just didn't want to leave it on a. I don't know. I'm paranoid about people watching, and I would hate to think that there's a step parent out there listening to that and just be completely crushed or feel insecure or diminished. So I'm like, no, I don't want to.
This is the opinion of the masses.
Yeah, I'm like, no, I know. I'm like, everybody.
I missed all of that. I missed that whole part, guys. Yeah. I missed that whole part.
Oh, it was a mess. And you the one who put the quarter in him. He thought he was saying what you were saying, and he went for it.
Yeah.
He threw a Hail Mary. I was like,
no, let's not do that. Let's not start
my
the real.
My uncle was a bad stepdaddy. My cousin a bad stepdaddy. So stepdaddy is out.
My own father, you know what I mean, who raised my sister. I'm like, come on, we're doing too much, right? All right, guys. So with that said, it's always a good time here. You already know, On the Block with Jen. Subscribe, hit that notification bell. Pull up to the stoop on the block with your girl. Thank you so much for the super chats. Thank you for your participation. I will be back. I got a real juicy, interesting show for y'all. As I said, it's going to be real different. No one on YouTube has interviewed these individuals. It's going to be very, very interesting. All right, guys, so stay tuned. Watch out for me. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Jabari, Big Hef, I love y'all. Say what's up to Mr. O for me.
Will do.
Okay, and good night, guys.
All right, my future. I'll see you later.
Okay, bye-bye. Good night, guys. Bye.